4-350-1931 for W. Harley Miller Systems. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, it's our Dog Tag Senior Profile and the Bullpup Report. You're listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio WRNR and watching on TV 10.
If you're not progressing in healthcare, you're falling behind.
W Medicine has planted itself here, and they're the first university that I've found who wants to take ownership of this population of Western Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and the good people of West Virginia. And it's really refreshing to see.
I was able to do things that the patients were going away for, which is good for the patients, and it's good for us because we have more resources. Certainly has helped take us to another level.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Michael Boite. Michael, tell us what it's been like playing football at Martinsburg.
It's been amazing to play football as a Martinsburg Bulldog. I mean, the community has our back 24/7 every day, and I wouldn't rather play for any other team around here.
Take us to the wide receiver position first. Tell us what it's like to play wide out for the Dogs.
Being a wide out for Martinsburg is really fun. We have a lot of competition between all the other wide receivers, and it's not easy to play this position, but, you know, the competition makes each and every one of us better at what we do in our position.
How much does the coaching staff emphasize blocking downfield? Because you guys
Chip,
do it
if
so
you
well.
want, I would pay him back and give him a view of as much of the field as you can.
We got a lot of
at home, because I'm not sure if Matt's got
be able to block, steal the
all
edge
of this.
so they can get out and get loose.
I don't know what's on the TV screen at this moment in time while we're playing some of these other features. But if it is the live video, it might not be bad. Folks can just kind of watch the teams as they're warming up, get a feel for how the teams look, that
Being
sort
a
of
defensive
thing.
back, it's fun, but you got to know that if somebody gets behind you, it's on you, and it's a really big part of being a Martinsburg Bulldog because we don't let anything behind us. We like to stay on top of everything.
You like that challenge?
Yes, sir.
How about
Other
sports?
Really
Are you participating in other sports here at the school?
Yeah, I run track and field. I do the 110 hurdles and the 300 hurdles.
Has that helped your football game?
Yeah, for sure. My form has gotten much better running. It makes me faster. I run stronger and harder.
What is it that you like to do when you're not playing sports? Just to kick back and relax.
I like to play a lot of video games with my friends. I like to go out and eat all the time. I like to go over to my friend Grant and Chella's house when I'm free.
27 of 39, so he
How about in school?
misconnected like
How's
12
it going?
times.
And what are some of your favorite
and there
classes?
were at least
In
3
school, I'm doing pretty
that
good
were
this
just
year.
drops.
I got 3.5
just
GPA, and
drops.
my favorite class got to be civics with Mrs. Arnecki. Yeah.
How about your future?
It's good to see
Being
DJ
the
getting
senior
involved
year, you
again
got to be
too.
thinking
Cornish.
what comes next.
Yeah,
What would you like to do?
I'm trying to go to college and play college football. I'm just waiting for the colleges to contact me, get to know me. A lot of colleges have talked to me a little bit, talking about how I'd be a good fit for their team. So I'm just trying to, ride the wave till it comes to that point.
As far as studies, what would you like to do?
Criminal justice or business are my top 2 majors,
Well, Michael, we wish you the best through the rest of the season and in the future. Thanks for a few minutes of your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Michael Boite in the spotlight of our Dog Tag Senior Profile. Stay tuned. We've got the Bullpup Report coming up after this word from the Mirius Group and Ameriprise Financial Advisors John Everson and Phil McCoy.
Hi, I'm Philip McCoy. Ameriprise Financial has been serving and supporting this community for decades. We believe that every dream is personal and needs a personal plan. That's why you can count on the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, to understand your unique needs and goals. Whether Whether you want to make the most of the money you have, save for a comfortable retirement, or plan to leave a legacy, the Marius Group can help you realize your dreams of today and tomorrow. Call the Marius Group at 304-263-4343. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
It's time for our Bullpup Report as we talk freshman and JV football, getting it started with JV head coach Britt Sherman. Coach, you wrapped up the regular season this week. Tell us about the matchup, who you played, how it played out.
Well, Matt, we played Musselman on Monday, and we're victorious 42-0.
What was the key to get you going offensively?
Kayvon Warren runs the ball really hard, really good sophomore for us, and you're probably going to see him a little bit with injuries to Dwayne and, just trying to keep fresh bodies on the field. You probably see him some maybe this week and even into the playoffs.
How about on the defensive side of the football to be able to pitch a shutout?
The whole unit did a really good job. Ryan Van's back from injury. He did a good job up front with Micah Selman, Zion Watson, and then Quentin Brown and Reese Duffy, guys in the linebackers and secondary, Jamal Robinson. Those guys just doing a good job. They play for a lot of other people, and they're our JV guys, and they're, waiting their time, and hopefully it'll come here either in the playoffs this season or next season.
An undefeated regular season yet again. What is it that you're seeing from these JV players from the beginning of the year here to the end of the year?
Well, we talk a lot about competition and practice, and I really like the way we do it in West Virginia with JV and varsity that practice together, because they get to see the varsity guys every day in practice, and that's who they go up against. So sometimes I feel like, going up against our varsity, on Mondays they come out and we can play some pretty good teams, but they're not as good as our varsity, and these guys are, that's their time to shine, and they do a really good job with it.
A winning streak on the varsity level. I understand you guys have a pretty good one going on the JV level.
Yeah, we counted it up. Been keeping records back since 2008, and we have won 35 in a row dating back to 2013.
What's that tell you about how these young players are growing and developing?
We talk about reps all the time, and some years we only played 6 games. This year we got 7 games in. One year we were 8-1, I think the first year. So it's good for those guys to get in and get playing time, and I feel bad for these teams that don't play freshman and JV. I think freshman's a great buffer, and I think JV is just a good kind of like a minor league system or a farm system into the varsity, because you're still practicing with varsity coaches, but then you get out to get those reps on Monday night and work toward playing. And, these guys, like I said, you'll see some of these guys, Jamal Robinson and Reese Duffy, have worked their way onto our varsity special teams by playing hard in JV. Kayvon might be running the ball for us in the playoffs. So they need that, and they wouldn't be doing that if they weren't playing JV.
Well, Coach, congratulations on another great season. We'll look forward to talking to you again next year.
Thank you again, Matt. Thanks for the coverage.
JV head coach Britt Sherman joining us with our Bullpup Report. Stay tuned. We'll talk freshman football next.
People are talking about WRNR.
Your station is the best.
You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Talk Radio WRNR, your local news, talk sports.
Time now to talk freshman football with head coach Rob Seville, wrapping up the regular season this week with a victory against Fort Hill. Tell us, what was the final, how did it play out?
The final was 24-8. We got up early, had a score, and then we got a defensive score. Kid ran back a fumble about 85 yards. So we were up 16-0 at halftime. They came out, put a little drive together and scored, and our offense came out and answered and went up 24-8, and then we got a turnover late to kind of seal the deal. So the kids played well. It's a good Fort Hill team. I mean, they beat Spring Mills, who we've lost to twice, so it kind of inspired them a little bit that, we're going into this championship game, we got a shot. So.
Yeah, how good is a win against a quality program, knowing you still have this one more chance at Spring Mills?
Oh, it's always big to go into a championship game with a little momentum. It's one game, but we're hurting for freshman games this year. But just getting that win and getting back on track, because we'd had a few weeks off, a couple JV games, but to actually play a freshman game where the kids played the full game, and it was a hard-fought game. I mean, Fort Hill's their program's very big tradition, and they're hard hitting and they're disciplined and they do what they do well. Like I say, our kids just stepped up and played well, and it's big. I'm going into that last game.
Can you say that maybe those couple of JV freshmen combined games helped your players a little bit heading into this one?
It did. It hurt us a little bit because we lost some kids due to injury for the year, but it helps with the experience and playing a little faster and seeing how the JV/varsity program runs, because those kids practice together every day. So seeing those kids, how they work and how they come out and play and put the intensity into the game, it does help a little, yeah.
Tell us about the championship game. When will it be? Where will it be?
We are at Spring Mills on Thursday, November 1st at 6 p.m., night game. They usually do a Saturday game, but for some reason, I guess their field was being used or something, so they moved us to that Thursday, which the kids are excited about, playing on Thursday night before a varsity game, so they're looking forward to it.
All right, what do you take out of the first two meetings as you head into this third matchup?
Well, they're going to do what they do. They've got three quality running backs, and they kind of run that tough wishbone thing. Last time they spread it out a little against us, weren't very successful with that, so they went back to the wishbone, and they got a great big tight end that they run behind. He's a heck of a player. He's about 6'4", about 220 as a freshman. I mean, he's a good-looking kid. I asked to see his birth certificate, but he's legit, they say. So, but I think we're just going to have to play a little tougher and a little more disciplined. We've moved the ball well on both times. We just turnovers and fumbles and penalties have killed us in the red zone. So hopefully we can correct those things and give them a game.
Coach, we wish you the best in that one. Thank you for your time all season.
I appreciate it, Matt. Thanks a lot.
Here it is, freshman coach Rob Seville joining us as part of our Bullpup Report, along with the Dog Tag Senior Profile, a service of the Marius Group and Ameriprise Financial Advisors Phil McCoy and John Everson. Call Ameriprise Financial at 304-263-4343 or stop by 1270 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. Stay tuned for more of the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. It's West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
If you're a
It's one of the toughest times you'll ever face when someone close to you passes away. It's a swirl of papers to sign and arrangements to be made, all while you're dealing with grief. At Brown Funeral Home, we encourage you to pre-plan. Pre-planning not only makes things easier for you, it protects you from rising costs. At Brown Funeral Home, our families are precious to us, and so are yours. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson.
And we welcome you back into Coburn Field, where the Martinsburg Bulldogs take on the Musselman Applemen on this Saturday night. Time for us to go in the end zone and hear from Bulldogs head coach David Walker. The conversation brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400 Shepherdstown Road in Martinsburg. We send it down to Jason.
I'm down here with Coach. Coach, it's got to be one of the craziest years weather-wise as far as rain affecting practices and games this year.
Yeah, a lot of rain. A lot of wet practices and a lot of wet games. So. And we're glad it's dry tonight anyway.
What went behind the decision to move the game from Friday night to Saturday night this week?
Well, it's senior night, the biggest game in the state against two undefeated teams. I just felt like if we'd have played last night, there wouldn't have been anyone here to watch the game. And, a lot of it is financial reasons, obviously. But I just think it's a better atmosphere when there's more people here in the stands able to watch it.
Coach, how much excitement does come in the Eastern Panhandle when you've got two teams sitting right now, both undefeated? It's your last game of the year. It's their second to last game of the year.
Well, if you're a high school football fan, you should be here at this game. Across the state, we're the only game in town tonight, and a lot of eyes are on us, and both two successful programs, and you should come out and support it.
How much does it disrupt you having to move this game, though?
It didn't bother me. I'd much rather be out here right now than standing in the rain last night. We just really gave us an extra day to prepare, or just to get reps in, but it did the same for them, so I don't think it was a big deal.
Looking at an undefeated Musselman team, what did you guys see this week that is going to be keys for you guys to be successful tonight against them, both on offense and on defense?
Well, I think we got to kind of weather the storm. They play with a lot of emotion. I know they're going to come out and they could they're capable of big plays. They could keep the ball away from us. So I think we just got to weather the storm and settle in and play. And they're very physical. And they try to bring some pressure on defense, and offensively they do some things that we don't see a lot of. So it's going to present a big challenge for us tonight.
What would you like to see you guys be able to establish on offense? Obviously, this is the last game of the year, and after this, it is the playoffs.
Well, I mean, if we can, try to play mistake-free, but as far as, offensively, if we're able to run the football, I think would be huge for us, and they've got good size, and I think that would open up things for us throwing the ball. But, right now we go into it like we do every week. We just see how they line up and then see what they give us, and we try to take advantage and tag different areas depending on what we see.
How's the team looking so far injury-wise? I know last week we had talked about you had several injuries. It looks like you've got a couple of players back, maybe lost a couple of additional players.
We're in the same situation. I mean, Grantham's still out, and Morris is still out. So, but everyone else is that plays. All the other starters are back. So, we're about the same as we were last week.
All right, Coach. Thank you, and we'll see you at halftime.
All right, thank you.
There you go. A few thoughts from Coach going into this big matchup here, telling us exactly why they moved the game to Friday night or to Saturday night.
There you go, Jason Colrick in the end zone with Martinsburg head coach David Walker. The conversation brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400 Shepherdstown Road in Martinsburg. Hey, in the market for a new or used vehicle? Check out their great selection online at parsonsfordofmartinsburg.com. We became number one by making you number one first. Parsons. We've got more of our W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show coming up. Hey, believe it or not, all the other EPAC games were played last night. A lot of other action around the Mountain State as well. As Coach Walker said, this is the only game in town in West Virginia tonight. We'll tell you how some of those games played out last night with our check of the area schedule. You're listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and watching on TV 10.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons number one for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became number one by making you number one first. Parsons.
There were only 3 other games involving Eastern Panhandle Athletic Conference teams this weekend, and all 3 were played last night. Let's begin in the north end of the county, where Spring Mills scored a much-needed 32-9 victory over North Hagerstown. Spring Mills led 14-9 at the half and never looked back in picking up a win, just their second in their last 6 games. Head coach Chad Williams.
Not real worried about the playoff picture at the moment. Right now I think we need to figure out ways to win games, before we start to worry about, what's going to happen in November.
With the victory, Spring Mills improves to 4-5, keeping their slim playoff hopes alive heading into a season-ending matchup at Hedgesville next Friday night. Speaking of the Eagles, they are on a bye this week at 6 wins and 3 losses. They're coming off a 42-13 victory at Hampshire last week. Head coach Joey Urish on having the bye so late in the year.
I hate it, because you finally get a win after 2 hard games, and you kind of want to stay on the momentum trail. But then it's also a good thing because it allows you to get healthy. We had about 5 injuries last week in that Hampshire game, and we needed that extra week to get healthy before we go into Spring Mills in the playoffs. So there's good things to it and bad things to it.
Hedgesville will host Spring Mills next Friday night. Game time at 7. Coverage will begin with a pregame at 6:30 right here on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10. Elsewhere on Friday night, South Hagerstown
Hagerstown used a solid ground attack for a 40-13 win at Jefferson. The Rebels were led by Jaswa Sannon, who ran for 266 yards and 3 scores. Jefferson, with the loss, falls to 1-8. Head coach Craig Hunter.
I thought we played well, played hard, competed, we tried to compete the whole game. There was no quit the team. So, you can't ask, for much more. I mean, you want more consistency at times, but, I thought they played hard.
The effort certainly there for Aaron Gravel. He had 148 rushing yards and a touchdown, but not enough for the Cougars, who will wrap up the regular season next weekend entertaining Washington. Speaking of the Patriots, they suffered a loss hosting Hampshire Friday night, 44-10 the final. Frankie Amore had 123 yards passing and a touchdown. He also ran for another, but not enough as the Patriots fall to 0-9. Head coach Glenn Simpson.
Well, there's still a lot to play for. The guys that are here, they come out every week and try to improve and trying to get that one win, to trying to get on the positive side of the ledger.
Hampshire ran the ball for 317 yards in getting the victory, throwing only one time. The Trojans are now 2-7. A couple of other important scores from the top of Class AAA as number 1 Spring Valley had a strong second half to improve to 9-0 with a 58-34 win against Point Pleasant. Number 4 Capital is now 8-1 after a 41-0 victory at Riverside. Number 5 Ripley is also 8-1. They defeated Roane County 41-6, and number 6 Huntington scored a 27-21 overtime victory against number 9 Parkersburg. Tonight, it's the 2-3 matchup in Class AAA as number 3 Musselman visits number 2 Martinsburg. We're getting you ready for the action. More of the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show coming up. That's our check of the area schedule. It's brought to you by Kelly Allstate Insurance at 724 Lakeview Drive near the intersection of Rockcliffe Drive in Martinsburg. Phone 304-263-4596. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
I like Mike because he's not afraid to speak his mind, even if it means being politically incorrect.
I like Mike because he fights for people like me, the little guy that always gets forgotten about.
I like Mike because I value his opinions and his efforts in improving education in West Virginia for all students and school employees.
I like Mike because he votes right.
Because he's the type of leader we need in Charleston.
Accountable, ethical, responsible. Elect Michael Folk for West Virginia State Senate.
It'll fill in a little bit more, I hope. Yeah. Not as big as a Sharando crowd. We welcome you back once again here to Coburn Field, where tonight the Martinsburg Bulldogs take on the Musselman Appleman. Senior night activities just getting underway as the Martinsburg seniors and their parents make their way down the near sideline and now work their way out onto the field. A special night as at halftime, we understand the newest Hall of Fame members will be introduced as well as the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies and reception took place yesterday. Along with Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller. Down on the sideline, Jason Colrick. Back at the studio, Matt Crawford, our engineer. Chip Rittenhouse is our TV 10 cameraman. Well, it's time to take a little deeper look at these Musselman Applemen. And, Vic, it's a team that certainly can put up the yards and the points. They come in as a team averaging about 179 yards a game through the air, with Trey Beard, their starting quarterback, throwing for over 1,300 with 16 touchdowns touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. He's been very efficient with the football.
Yes, he has. He's been very efficient. And, one of the things about him is he's a guy that you have to contain not only throwing the football but running the football as well. Very sharp, very intelligent player. And this is one of the things that this football team relies on. They rely on his play. If he plays well, they play well. If he doesn't play well, the team doesn't play well. Obviously, at 9-0, he's been playing very well.
You mentioned Beard as a runner. He is their second leading rusher as a quarterback, 461 yards on 71 attempts and 9 rushing touchdowns. But leading the ground game is Blake Hartman, 129 carries, 861 yards, and 14 touchdowns. He's at the top of a pack of rushers that average 253 yards per game this season.
Well, there again, I think we have to take a look, and we will see in this football game, they have not played the defense that they're going to see tonight. This is a relentless defense. These are the guys who get into the backfield. These are guys who defensively, Buddy Hessen has them doing a lot of different things. They bring a lot of people at you. They play man-to-man in the secondary, so that frees up a lot of people you have to block. So I think as Hartman goes tonight, so goes Musselman.
Well, and Hartman also their leading receiver, 27 catches, 506 yards. That's an 18.7-yard average. He's got 5 additional receiving touchdowns. Martinsburg, no doubt, will have their eyes on number 6 all night. It's a Musselman team that averages 432 total yards of offense a game and just about 39 points a game. Now, defensively, giving up only 14 points a game, and they have had 5 games this season in which they have allowed 1 touchdown or fewer, including a lone shutout against Jefferson. But again, this defense will be tested tonight in ways it probably hasn't throughout the year.
Well, no question about it. With this Martinsburg offense, this is something that you only see once a year, generally. And Martinsburg has seen this type of an offense. Musselman's going to bring out a couple, maybe even 3 times this year. We saw it in Philadelphia, saw it here against Sharando, and somewhat even saw it, I think, a little bit in the Jefferson game, because I think some of the things both of those teams do are basically the same. But this is a new animal. This is totally different from what they have seen. And let me tell you, as I said before earlier in the broadcast, it is very, very difficult to stop this Martinsburg team, because usually when you want to stop a team, you say, if we can do this, we can contain the pass, or we can make them throw 3rd and long and those sort of things like that. That's a little bit different. This team, very, very difficult, because they have 4, sometimes even 5 receivers that can catch the ball anywhere and then run with it after the catch. And as well, with the ground game that they have, again, they are very difficult to stop.
You look at this series, and this is the 33rd meeting between Martinsburg and Musselman, and the Martinsburg Bulldogs lead the series 24 wins to 8 losses, including 18 straight. And in the 18 consecutive wins, Martinsburg is averaging 48 points a game while giving up only 7 to the Musselman Applemen. They've got to find a way to reverse that here tonight. Musselman coming in with a lot of weapons. We'll see if they can get it done against these Bulldogs. Well, we need to take a timeout, but when we return, we'll hear from Musselman head coach Brian Thomas, getting his thoughts on last week's big win against Washington and tonight's matchup against these Martinsburg Bulldogs. Our pregame show brought to you by W. Harley Miller Systems, providing custom integration services to help eliminate the need for a table full of remotes or dozens of apps on your cell phone. You can learn more online at WHMsystems.com or phone 304-350-1931. This is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
And the whole community for being the best fan.
At Valley College, we know that going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format, on campus or online, that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College, because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learnatvalley.com.
Musselman head coach Brian Thomas. The Applemen coming off of a 70-6 win against Washington last Friday to remain undefeated at 8-0.
We were heavily favored in the game, but we talked to the kids about if we want to take that next step and we want to be a great football team, then you have to come out and you got to take care of business in the games that you're supposed to. And I was really pleased with our starters that they were focused. They came out. They didn't mess around. They got after it quick. And it's always exciting just because you get your younger kids in the game and you get them some experience. That was pretty neat as well.
I know I asked you a very similar question last week, but you guys have won in just about every way possible so far this year, whether it's been a blowout, a tight game, low scoring, or high scoring. How much does that help you going into a matchup with Martinsburg being one of the best teams in the state?
Even going beyond that, even going, into the playoffs this year, the next month for us is really big just because, we got a big one Friday and then, next week concludes our regular season and then we get to jump into the playoffs. But, I think going down the stretch, that's really big just because we've been through these situations and, no matter what we face coming up, whether it be, and not just against Martinsburg, but against everybody, if we're up big, we can talk about we've been there. If we're behind in a game, then we've been there against Wheeling Park. If we got a tight lead in the fourth quarter, we've been there against Hedgesville. We've been there against Morgantown. So we faced a lot of different situations that I think it's really going to help us down the stretch just because I don't think our kids will panic. And we haven't panicked all year, but I think our kids, having experienced that and having been there before, it'll help us when we reach those situations again.
How similar do you see the matchup Friday night to the matchup that took place the same time last year?
I don't know. Every team's so different, and it really is. Every group. I've coached. I've been a Musselman for 12 years now. It's just so different every year. There's some similarities, but even having said that, Martinsburg's different too. They're obviously really good again, but they do some things different. I think that's what makes Martinsburg really successful. And I'm not patting myself on the back either, but you watch both of our programs, and Coach Walker does some different things this year, and we do some different things, but it really fits. Our personnel, they did some things different last year when they had Bajent compared to what they're doing with Harmon, and they're both awesome football players. I think Harmon's I think that kid's an awesome football player, but they're both great players, but they're different players. And the same thing with us. We had Chris Fox last year, who was an awesome quarterback, and now we have Trey Beard, and they're both amazing football players, but they're different. So I don't know. In some ways it's similar, but in a lot of ways different, just because I think every team and every year is just different in a lot of ways.
How much do you look forward to having a game like this? You've mentioned the playoffs being right around the corner. This is not just a playoff game, but this is a matchup of teams that would meet late in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's exciting. At the same time, we're really excited about this game. But and we told our kids this. We're excited about it. But at the same point, we're doing everything the same this week that we did last week against Washington. And I've had a lot of people say to me, once again, all due respect to Washington, but I've had a lot of people say, like, I bet you've been working on Martinsburg, for a couple weeks now. And we haven't. Last week against Washington, we focused on Washington, and we wanted to be the best version of us. And it's the same thing this week. And it sounds like a coach's cliche, but it's not. It's what we tell our kids. This is the biggest game of the year because it's the next one. And then, next week we'll move on regardless of the outcome Friday, and it's going to be the biggest game of the year, and then the playoffs will be the biggest game of the year. But, having said that, it is exciting. You don't want to be here late in the year with 0 wins or 1 win, playing in front of 10 fans. You want to have the atmosphere that we're going to have Friday night. And it's going to be exciting for our players.
And that is Musselman Appleman head coach Brian Thomas. We'll continue to preview the matchup with Musselman at Martinsburg on the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show after this timeout. This is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
We all know what a good time looks like, but what is it made of? We can think of a few things. this case, it's handcrafted food to gather around, never-changing variety of wine, and a Friday night. Do yourself a favor. Experience the good in a good time.
We welcome you back again here to Coburn Field, where the senior night activities are going on as we get ready for tonight's high school football matchup. Only matchup in the state on this Saturday night, originally scheduled to be played last night, but postponed due to the sloppy, rainy conditions that came through the area. It's worked out nicely. It's a perfect evening for high school football. And Vic, great matchup. We've talked a little bit about Musselman and what they bring, especially offensively. Let's talk about these Bulldogs. This is an offense that can get it done in a number of ways. They can drive the football down the field. They can make big plays. They can run the football. They can pass the football. You look at their totals, offensively averaging 256 on the ground, 190 through the air, or an average of about 446 total yards a game. Coach Walker says it all the time. We want to take what they give us, and that's exactly what they've done.
Well, that's exactly what you want out of your offense, is to take whatever they give you. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. They have so much that they can put out there. If you try to take something away, they'll just lean heavily on something else. You try to take away that run, they'll throw the ball more and hurt you even more. You try to take away the pass, they'll run the football on you. That's what makes this team so dangerous, because they are so well balanced. They've got a lot of guys who can run the football in the backfield. Obviously, they got a ton of guys who can catch it. And then on top of that, you have probably one of the best football players, maybe one of the best athletes in the state at quarterback, and then you have a guy behind him who throws missiles as a quarterback, who can throw it right through you. So there's a lot of things that they can hit you with, and this is exactly what Coach is trying to say. Basically, you take this away, we got this. You take that away, we got something else.
Well, and that's what makes this team so hard to defend, and the reason why they are averaging 56 points a game. Then you turn it around to the other side of the football, though, and it's no easier for the opposing team's offense against this Bulldog defense, because Martinsburg is giving up only 33 rushing yards a game, 104 passing yards, or about 136 total yards per game, and those are just phenomenal numbers, but especially what they've done against the run, making teams one-dimensional.
Yeah, you make a team one-dimensional, especially in high school, boy, they've got some real problems. They're not going to win, period. And on top of that, if you take a look at this Martinsburg defense, they have the luxury of having a very good front four up there. They got a bunch of younger guys who don't have a whole lot of experience, but has done a great job this year. But what helps them also is the fact that, especially that back four or the back seven, who just simply blanket receivers that you can't get the ball to them. One of the toughest things to do is to try to get receivers open when the secondary people are faster than your receivers. And that's what we're going against, and we're seeing so many times that happens, and that's why very seldom you see a Martinsburg receiver get beat deep or get beat badly or something, because of the fact of the speed and the quickness that they have. So there's a lot going on out there as far as the defense is concerned. They bring a lot of people. You can't block them all, and something that a lot of people, you can't tell just by looking from the stands, just the speed and the quickness that they have up front.
Well, one other element of this team, really both offensively and defensively, has been their ability to take the football away, while at the same time their ability to protect the football offensively. These Bulldogs have turned it over only 7 times this season, 4 interceptions and 3 fumbles, while they've taken it away from their opponents 26 times with 15 interceptions and 11 fumbles. That is plus 19 in the turnover category.
Well, that's really big, obviously. But at the same time, when you look at a situation like that, you're talking about these are teams that when they get the football, unless it's the opening kickoff or maybe the first, second series of the game, they're already behind. So the pressure's on, and they can't afford to make mistakes. And, of course, the further they get behind, the bigger the mistake becomes. And that's what happens. They just simply get pressured out of the game.
Vic, you just gave us last week's game against Jefferson in the nutshell, right? Martinsburg gets the opening possession, very quickly goes down the field. They get a touchdown. Even after they commit a penalty that keeps Jefferson's first drive alive, they pick off a pass and return it 55 yards for a score. And by the time Jefferson is touching the football for the second time, they're already behind 14-0.
Yeah, and it's a lot of pressure. It's an awful lot of pressure, especially when you have a football game that you know that you're the big underdog in a situation like that.
All right, let's bring in Jason Colrick. He had been down on the sideline, coming back up to the booth for a few minutes, maybe to get warm, as it is a chilly evening out there. The senior night activities continuing, sir.
Yeah, it's definitely a chilly evening out there, and it has been a very long senior night. As you can look out there and see that there are a lot of players and band and cheerleaders being recognized tonight for senior night. So I did come up before the action got started just to warm up a little bit. Wind is definitely blowing at field level. But as you can see, Musselman traveled very well. Obviously, it's just down on the other side of the state, but actually, if you look at the stands right now, there are probably more Musselman fans in the stand right now than there are Martinsburg. So, they're here anticipating what could be one of the biggest upsets in the Eastern Panhandle in a long time.
Yeah, we were talking off mic a little bit earlier that, I wondered how big this crowd would be. It would have that playoff feel. The intensity level is definitely going to be there as this game kicks off. But this crowd not quite as large, well, not really even close to as large as what that Sharando crowd was, as this place was absolutely jam-packed.
I tell you, there wasn't a seat in the house. I mean, there was standing room only in the Sharando game. I mean, as we looked over there, you couldn't even see the walkways. There were so many people and along the fence and so forth. But, typical Martinsburg fans, they always arrive late, but they come.
That's it. They will be here. All right, let's quickly, before we wrap up our pregame show, hit the fact that Martinsburg now has the longest winning streak in West Virginia history at 37 wins in a row. Guys, according to Max Preps, that puts them as the 8th longest current winning streak in high school football. Damascus over in Maryland tied their state record with their 50th consecutive win last week. Then you look at Caledonia, Minnesota, and Royal out of Royal City, Washington, who have each won 49 in a row. Then Simmons, Mississippi at 48 in a row. And then a team out of South Carolina, another team out of Connecticut tied at 45 straight. Then down to Wake Forest, North Carolina at 38. And then Martinsburg is tied with Millwood, Oklahoma at 37 wins in a row. Some pretty amazing numbers.
Yes, they are. And I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to schedule all those teams next year.
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, we talked about it earlier. You look at the bonus points that Martinsburg has had for their 9 victories, and it shows you they've played a tough schedule this year, and it may get even tougher next year. Salem, we already know, is on that schedule. We believe Academy Park will be coming here. And Huntington, there's been conversation about maybe adding the Highlanders to that schedule if they can get everything worked out. So it'll be another tough one for these Bulldogs next year. But again, right now the Bulldogs, they're at a stage in this program history where they don't rebuild, they reload.
Yes, they have been, and they've been reloading. And one of the things that people are looking at, you look at some of these scores and you say, gosh, why don't they? I had a person actually ask, why don't they play somebody? Well, we're not that fortunate that we can just go out and pick and choose who we can play. Football is a very difficult game to schedule. Number one, you have 11 weeks to do 10 football games, and you have to find a team that can play you and be open the same week that you're open, which is very, very difficult. You can't shift people around. So, you take what's on your schedule, you play whomever's on your schedule, and you go from there.
Well, that'll be the final word on today's pregame show, brought to you by W. Harley Miller Systems, providing custom integration services for home and office automation, home theater, networking, audio, video distribution, and more. Phone 304-350-1931. All right, we'll take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll check in with keys to the game from Vic, and we'll take a look at today's starting lineups. You're listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, watching on TV 10.
The following sports special is a broadcast presentation of Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
Dear Lord, the battle we go through life.
Dear Lord, the battles go through life.
We ask for a chance is fair.
We ask for a chance is fair.
Chance to equal our stripes.
Chance to equal our stripes.
Chance to do it there.
Chance to do it there.
We should win.
We should win.
Let it be by the code.
Let it be by the code.
Faith and honor held high.
Faith and honor held high.
We should lose.
We should lose.
Stand by the road.
Stand by the road.
Cheers, the winners go by.
Cheers, the winners go by.
Day by day.
Day by day.
We get better and better.
We get better and better.
So we can't beat beat.
We can't beat beat.
Boom, beat, beat.
Who let the dogs out? It's time for the excitement of West Virginia high school football, featuring the AAA Martinsburg Bulldogs. To get you ready for today's play-by-play action, we'll bring you interviews, in-depth analysis, and important game information on the pregame show. So let's get things started by going to the stadium and join our Talk Radio WRNR broadcast team.
All right, we welcome you back into Coburn Field. Along with Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller. Jason Colrick on the sideline. Matt Crawford at the studio. Chip Rittenhouse is our TV10 cameraman. All right, before we get into the starting lineups, Vic, let me throw it at you. Give me two quick keys to the game for both of these teams. Keys to the game brought to you by real estate attorney Luttrell LC. Let Chris Luttrell hand you the keys to your new home. For all of your real estate legal needs, call Luttrell LC at 304-267-3050.
Okay, for Musselman on the offensive side, I think the big thing is ball control. They have to try to control the ball, keep the ball away from Martinsburg. In other words, 3 and out, you're going to have some real problems. You got to do something on first down so it'll make second and third down a little bit easier for you. Defensively, again, they can't give up the big play. They can't give up the slant pass that goes 60, 70 yards for a touchdown. On the other side for Martinsburg, just do what you do best, and that is play under control, do the things that you have been doing all year long. And secondly, I think the big thing is not to panic. Musselman may come out, they may score on you early or whatever, but just relax and play within yourself.
There you go. Keys to the game, a service of Chris Luttrell at Luttrell LC. Locally owned, they know the business, and they're part of the community. You can win every time when it comes to your real estate legal needs. Just call Luttrell LC at 304-267-3050. Chris Luttrell with a dual interest in this game, as he played his high school ball at Musselman as I believe a quarterback and a kicker back in the day, and now serves as the kicking coach for the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Let's turn to the starting lineups, a service of D&N Auto Specialist. If your vehicle is not starting properly, then start at D&N Auto to get it fixed right the first time. Family owned and operated since 1974. Call 304-267-4078. Let's begin with the visitors from Musselman. We were given their offensive starting lineup, so that's what we'll go with, as the starting quarterback is Trey Beard. Joining him in the backfield will be Sebastian Oldham, as well as Blake Hartman. The tight end is Ethan Wilson, while the wide receivers will be Kagan Teets and Devon Shade. The offensive line has Gerald Butler and Adam Taylor as tackles. The guards are Scott Murray and Ethan Northcraft, and the starting center is Chris Reinhardt. When you look at Musselman play through the years, Vic, they have typically played very well up front. The guys in the trenches do the job. They want to establish that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they'd have a pretty good front, and the only big difference between these two teams, I think, up front is the fact I think Martinsburg's a little bit quicker, and I think that may show up here tonight.
All right, let's take a look at that Martinsburg starting offense. Grant Harmon will be the quarterback, but we'll see plenty of Elijah Banks we expect in this one as well. Dwayne Grantham remains out with injury, but we understand he is healing, and there is a possibility we could see Grantham back in time for the playoffs, or at least sometime during the playoffs. Again, Martinsburg has a bye next week after wrapping up the regular season here tonight. Look for Naeem Kearney to be the starting running back. Wide receivers are Cello Teneval, along with Matt Van Duzer, Gerard Bowie, Michael Boite, and look for Teddy Marshall out there as well. The tackles are Matt Bednarski and Brandon Moran. The guards, Michael Cullinay and Ty Lucas. And at starting center, we could see either Aaron Pearson or we might see A.J. Brenniger watching the team during warm-ups. They were kind of switching in and out as they have used both of those guys, really rotating, not quite like the quarterbacks, but they've rotated centers throughout this season as well.
Yeah, they've had some problems with that a little bit. I'll tell you, most people, we don't appreciate what centers do and how tough a job that is to make that perfect snap every time. But you don't really realize it until you get a bad snap. That's when you start to think about it.
Starting lineups brought to you by D&N Auto Specialist, where honesty is their best policy, specializing in exhaust alignments and tires. Call D&N Auto Specialist at 304-267-4078. One more 1 minute timeout to take, and then we'll be back to bring you the opening kick and all the play-by-play action. It's West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
I got into this because I believe the system is broken and needs to be fixed. Let me tell you why I'm the person to fix it. I've been practicing in courts throughout the state of West Virginia for over 30 years. I know where the courtroom is, and I know what to do when I get there. I also know what to do when I get here. I know what it's like to represent a widow and hold her hand and tell her everything's going to be okay. I also know what it's like to represent a small business or even a larger business, trying to meet payroll or just trying to get by. All they all want is fairness. They want to know that when they come to the court, the law and the facts are going to be applied to them, whether they're the governor or a janitor. I'm Bill Schwartz. I'm asking for your vote. Please help me fix this.
Well, the Martinsburg Bulldogs winning the coin toss, and they want the football to get this one started. Our opening kick brought to you by Brett Rogers, House of Delegates candidate, 63rd District, a fiscally conservative, open-minded, and energetic voice for our community. Hey, before we get into that opening kick, shout out to a couple of folks we know that are tuning in on TV 10. Let's welcome in Mike and Nancy Rafferty. They are listening and or watching in Alabama. I know I've got Scott Bradley watching as well. Ben Copenhaver even sent a text message to say he's enjoying this one as well. We thank you for tuning in wherever and however you are getting us, whether it's on cable channel TV 10 in Berkeley and Jefferson counties or the WRNR TV page on YouTube. Football on the tee at the 40 to our left, and it's a kick popped up along the near side. Fair catch called for, and it's made as Anthony Smith runs up to grab it at about the 37-yard line. On that kick was Luke Barger, a 6'3 sophomore who's been very solid with his kicks, and he pops it up short, not to allow Martinsburg to get a big return.
That's one of the big things these days. We don't have kickers anymore that can kick the ball to the end zone, and what happens a lot of times is, you know, if it doesn't happen on a regular basis, you get a lot of breakdowns as far as defending that kick return. So a lot of teams will squib it or they'll kick it short.
From their own 38-yard line, moving from right to left with the ball along the near side hash mark, the Bulldogs come to the line with two receivers to each side of the formation. A back to the left of Grant Harmon, who takes the shotgun snap, quickly fires near side. Cello Teneval the grab on the wide receiver screen, hit and taken out of bounds along the near sideline. There to grab a hold of him and help with the initial contact is the defensive back Caleb Hardy. The gain goes out to the 47. That'll be +9 on that pass completion, and it brings up a 2nd down and 1. Good start for Grant Harmon, starting quarterback for these Bulldogs, completing 72% of his passes for 942 yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. On 2nd and 1, 3 receivers out to the wide side right, snaps a little high, Harmon's got it, hands it off, Naeem Kearney caught in the backfield and quickly brought down. Knifing in from this right side of the defense is Davon Shade, a 6'2 senior. He'll catch him in the backfield for a 1-yard loss, and it will bring up 3rd down and 2. Good quickness that time as Shade got in there to bring down Naeem Kearney, the Bulldogs' leading rusher. 79 carries, 883 yards, and 15 touchdowns coming in. Harmon taking that shotgun snap again, just a little high. He's going to run along the near side, getting that 1st down as he lowers the head and shoulders, takes on the tackler, eventually taken out of bounds. Blake Hartman, the initial one to make contact, but Harmon able to bounce off of him and eventually goes out of bounds at the Musselman 49.
Well, 2 plays ago, they ran the blitz on the backside, and the linebacker came in and made the tackle. That time they tried to blitz on the front side. Didn't quite work. Harmon did a nice job of finding his way through the line of scrimmage, picking up the 1st down. 11-14 here in the first quarter. No score. Initial offensive set for Martinsburg.
Now in Musselman territory from the 49. There is the snap back. Harmon wants to throw. Deep over the middle, has an open receiver, and making the grab. No, dropping the football at the 10-yard line is Matt Van Duzer. Oh, in between the 15 and the 10-yard lines, it was hitting his hands. He kind of bobbled it and eventually dropped it. He ends up on his knees, kind of smacking his palms down on that artificial turf. He knows he had one get away.
Yes, he did. We got the officials setting the ball here. We haven't gotten all 11 players on the back on the other side of the field. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was one of those type that you like to have back again, but that opportunity will come again.
Play clock already winding down to 13 seconds and counting as the Bulldogs face now a 2nd down and 10. Trip receivers to the wide side right. Naeem Kearney now to the left of the quarterback. Down to 3 seconds, down to 2 seconds, down to 1. There is the snap. And now a penalty marker is thrown. And our back judge is going to say delay of game. Wow, that was very close.
Yes, it was.
Let's check in with Jason down on the sideline. Sideline reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible.
I thought that was a very quick whistle on that one, but I don't know, man. I think they gave Martinsburg the timeout versus the delay of game, though.
So there it is. A timeout was taken along the sideline. We saw our back judge throw the flag, but the head referee gives us the indication. Martinsburg calls a timeout to avoid losing the 5 yards. We'll go ahead and keep it right here with 11:05 to play in quarter number 1. Opening possession for the Bulldogs started with a 9-yard pass completion on a wide receiver screen to Cello Teneval after Naeem Kearney was taken down for a 1-yard loss. A 5-yard run from the starting quarterback Grant Harmon set up 1st down and 10 at the 49 of Musselman. An incomplete pass deep over the middle leads us to a 2nd down and 10.
Something's wrong here. First of all, I didn't think the play clock ran out. Plus, they called a timeout, apparently, for Martinsburg, and they did give them the 5-yard penalty as well. You can't have them both.
Wow, Coach. Yeah, okay, now they are going to move that football back to the 49-yard line. And I'm sure Coach Walker's talking a little bit about how quickly they set that football when their wide receiver was still down in the end zone.
Yeah, and he was getting the loose ball that the officials are supposed to go pick up.
So out of the timeout, Martinsburg lines up now ready for that 2nd and 10, again with 2 receivers each way. There is the snap and the handoff, and Naeem Kearney hit in the hole, quickly spun down. Good push up front by that defensive line for Musselman, helping to lead the way for the Appleman number 57, Ethan Northcraft. He's 6'3", 255, and a sophomore. 3rd down and 10 as Naeem Kearney, the leading rusher, has now had 2 carries for minus a yard. He gets nothing there, and from the 49 of Musselman, 6th play of this opening possession. The Dogs converted on a 3rd and 2 earlier, facing 3rd and 10 here. 2 receivers each way. There is the snap. Wanting to throw is Harmon, has all kinds of time, sets up now, throws far side, and the pass tipped away at the last second. That is Blake Hartman, who was able to get over and get his fingertips on that pass, intended along the far side numbers at the 38-yard line for Gerard Bowie.
That's a real nice defensive play that time. You got to give it a lot of credit. That was just a nice job of reading the quarterback on that play. So Musselman, what they're doing is snapping the ball. Looks like they're playing straight man-to-man, but they're backing off as soon as the ball is snapped, trying to keep from getting beat deep. So I think what Martinsburg's going to have to do, they're going to throw under a little bit and continue to do what they're doing, throwing the slants, the quick things, quick hitters, the stop patterns, get the ball in the receiver's hands and let them run a little bit.
On 4th down and 10, Trey Sign comes on to punt it away, but we've got a penalty marker down, and Musselman may have too many on the field. Let's wait and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nope. One of our back officials thought he had counted 12. They wave off the flag, and now we go to work. Sign averaging 39.8 yards a punt. Goes high into the air to get that snap. Knocks it down, picks it up, running to the near side. He will get to the sideline, takes on a tackler, and gets driven out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Huge hit put on by Ethan Walker, the senior wide receiver. And on special teams, able to make that big hit. And Martinsburg will turn it over after the gain of just 4 yards.
Well, I'll tell you what, so goes the rule of the helmet. That was pretty much a stick in the ear that time. And this is what Musselman needs. They need something to get them sparked, get them going to see what they do offensively.
Well, their defense did the job. Let's see what that Musselman offense does on a 1st down and 10. 3 receivers tightly bunched to the left of the formation. Trey Beard, the starting quarterback, out of the gun, slaps the hands. He's got it. Little screen pass far side, caught by Hartman, but hang on. We'll have penalty markers down and illegal procedure as the Applemen moved early. -5 on that procedure call. First penalty, 5 yards, now whistled against Musselman. Officially the first penalty of the game, as the Martinsburg penalty earlier was nullified as the Dogs had called timeout to avoid the delay of game. 1st down and 15 now, with the ball back at their own 39-yard line. Man in motion coming near side. Beard takes the snap, hands it off. On the reverse handoff with the scissors play, it is Odom who gives it to Hartman, and Hartman turning up the field gets hit and taken down at the 40-yard line after a 1-yard gain. So a little wing T philosophy in that play as they got it to Odom coming to the near side. Back to Hartman going the other way. 2nd down and 14 now from their own 40-yard line. Beard looking to the far sideline. He's going to have Odom lining up behind him in a pistol formation. 3 receivers to the left. The Bulldogs show blitz. Here they come. Snaps down low, and Beard has to go down and get it. All he could do there was smother that football before Anthony Smith got in to make contact at the 34-yard line for a loss of 6.
Well, just pressure up front that time. They saw the blitz coming and just culminated into a bad snap on that play, and this is what you can do. You want to put pressure in those situations. This is a 3rd and long, 3rd and about 20, so Musselman's going to have to be cautious here. They don't want to make a big mistake.
Trey Beard again has 3 receivers to the left. He takes the snap and hands it off, and Sebastian Odom off the right side of the line, hit and taken down after a pickup of just a yard. Asa Kramer-Gaskin helping on that stop. Looked like the outside linebacker Anthony Smith there as well. Odom gets 1. That is not nearly enough on a 3rd down and 20, and the punting unit comes on, and right now it's a battle of field position early.
You know, the bad part about it, Matt, if you and I look at it at face value, it should be 7-0 right now, and drop the touchdown pass, which would have made the game a little bit easier for both teams, I think, to settle in. Here's the punt. I think they're trying to keep it away from the return guys, and I won't say it's shanked, it's just simply kicked out of bounds, trying to keep it away. It was on the near hash mark. So let's see where they're going to spot this. It should be around the 40-yard line.
Yep, a 26-yard punt with no return, and with 8:28 to play in our opening quarter, still no score. Each team has had 1 offensive possession. See what the Bulldogs do with this second go-around, starting from their own 39, 1 yard ahead of where that first possession began at their own 38. Grant Harmon still in there at quarterback. Has Kearney to his left side again, 2 receivers each way. They fake the handoff. Harmon keeps it up the middle of the field, sidesteps a tackle, sidesteps another at the 45 into open territory, angling far side inside the 40 to the 30, the 25 and the 20, stays in bounds inside the 15 and 10 and goes out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Penalty marker down, flying in very late at the end of the play. Just a great run by Harmon, making a pair of guys miss within the first 10 yards and then getting some blockers downfield, and we're going to have a hold that will go against Musselman.
Yeah.
Half the distance to the goal penalty will move it. It should be down to about the 4.5.
I'm not going to call his number, but it was a hold. What he was doing was actually holding the blocker and trying to get him and push him into Harmon running the football. So it's 1st and goal for Martinsburg, and they will move it down inside the 4-yard line.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll call it 4. That's 2 penalties, 9 yards now for Musselman. Tack on that extra 4 yards at the end of a 52-yard run. 1st and goal from the 4. Handoff Naeem Kearney, brought down right at the line of scrimmage as Blake Hartman came around the left side of the defense, the right side of that offensive front line, and untouched, clipped his ankles and brought him down.
Well, you're going to get a lot of pressure. They're going to bring their linebackers, and obviously they're in a man coverage in the secondary. So you're going to get free linemen. So sometimes the slant types of runs, the curve that you see, the arc in the backfield, the backs, sometimes it's going to be better hit straight up in there.
2nd down, goal to go from the 4. Still in that spread formation are the Bulldogs. The Dogs wearing the black pants with the orange tops, black lettering, white trim. Musselman wearing the white uniform, pants and jersey tops, the Kelly green lettering and red trim. Harmon with a brief conversation with his running back, Naeem Kearney. Now has that shotgun snap, running to his right, lowers the head and shoulders again, taking on a tackler and getting hit and taken down after a gain of maybe 2 yards. Nice play in there defensively. Looks like a Chris Reinhardt helping to make that stop. They're going to set it down only at the 3, so that was a tough 1-yard carry for Harmon. He's up to 58 yards on 3 carries, albeit 52 came on the carry to get the Bulldogs in this goal line situation. 3rd down, goal to go from the 3.
Musselman doing a good job defensively up front and basically not allowing any penetration as far as Martinsburg getting their guards upfield, trying to get downfield blocks.
Harmon awaiting that shotgun snap. He's got it. Again, straight up the middle as he went over top of the right side of his guard and tackle. The Dogs pulled a pair of linemen to help open that hole, but again, Musselman stuffs the play right at the 1-yard line. So give Harmon 2 yards there, and it will bring up 4th down and goal to go at the 1. Martinsburg lining up to go for it, not going to try to settle for points in this situation early on. Martinsburg with 2 receivers each way, a back to the left of the quarterback, and now head coach David Walker going to go ahead and burn a timeout. So Martinsburg has now used a pair of timeouts here in this opening quarter. Let's take a 30-second break. We'll check in with Jason when we come back. 5 minutes, 45 seconds to play in our opening quarter, and there's no score. Our sideline reports are brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible. Let's check in with Jason.
Musselman's done a nice job of controlling that up the middle run there by Martinsburg, but when Martinsburg gets to the outside, they've got a little bit too much speed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Martinsburg do some kind of rollout sprint to the corner here.
Yeah, let's see if they give Grant Harmon a little bit of a run-pass option here by getting him out of the pocket. Vic, you were saying the same kind of thing, maybe a little play action, something to get that defense to bite. We'll see as the Bulldogs go for it. 4th down, goal to go from the 1. Harmon out of the gun. 3 receivers here to the wide side of the field left. There is the snap. There is the quick pitch. Kearney around the corner on the right side. He's in for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Harmon had the defense come to him, gave the pitch to the right, and Kearney had green turf in front of him to get into the end zone.
That's why David Walker's won so many football games. Pretty obvious, and the reason he called a timeout. And everybody's saying, well, he used 2 timeouts already here in the first quarter. You use them because you need them. And that timeout got him the score on that touchdown. Muddle huddle by Martinsburg here on the extra point attempt. Let's see if they come back to a conventional.
Yeah, they have done this a lot where they'll line up 3 players along the numbers on each side, just 3 guys right at the football. Now they'll bring everybody together. Snap will go back to Trenton Sherman, who will be the holder for Chris Catlett. Pearson with a snap a little high. Sherman gets it down, and the kick is up and through. Fantastic hands.
Well, I tell you what, you give an asterisk right beside Trent Sherman on that play. I tell you, that was a tough one to handle there.
He got it down, and Catlett with the extra point, now 48 of 50 in PATs this season. We'll take a 30-second break and then come back to Coburn Field, where Martinsburg now leads it 7-0.
It's one of the toughest times you'll ever face when someone close to you passes away. It's a swirl of papers to sign and arrangements to be made, all while you're dealing with grief. At Brown Funeral Home, we encourage you to pre-plan. Pre-planning not only makes things easier for you, it protects you from rising costs. At Brown Funeral Home, our families are precious to us, and so are yours. Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson.
For Kearney. The field up across the 20 and the 25, cuts back to his left at the 30, had a little bit of an opening, but it quickly closed at about the 32-yard line. Trey Sign in there on that special teams tackle for Martinsburg, and as well waiting to see it's R.J. Barrett, who is also there to help make that stop.
And Van Duzer. Good job defensively on that. Musselman looked like they had some real yardage on that kickoff return. 5 minutes, 29 seconds ago in the first quarter. 7-0, Martinsburg leads it, and that was not an easy 7 to get.
No, not at all. Musselman making it hard. Right now they're trying to get some offense going, though, after a 3-and-out the first time they had it. Trey Beard going to line up with Sebastian Odom, the 5'10", 200-pound senior, to his left side. 3 receivers very tightly bunched here to the near side of the formation. There's the handoff to Odom, and the handoff on that scissors-type play or the reverse-type play going to Blake Hartman, cutting to his left. He gets taken down for virtually no gain on the play. Nice job out there by Bednarski, the defensive end, who was able to get an arm on him and trip him up.
Again, this defense of Martinsburg is pretty quick up front. You know, even though they might be undersized to this Musselman's offensive line, they got some big people up there, but the quickness that they're able to penetrate the line of scrimmage and make some things happen.
2nd down and 10. Hartman comes in motion to the near side. Beard takes the snap, wants to throw, lets it go. Tipped up into the air and incomplete. Underneath coverage from Anthony Smith as he was able to get his hands on that football intended along the near side for the tight end, Ethan Wilson. Incomplete. First pass attempt for Beard, who is completing 66% of his passes this season. 1,332 yards, 16 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. 3rd down and 10. And this is what you were talking about earlier, Vic. One of the keys, they needed to be able to sustain drives, and that starts with good first down yards so you don't get in these 3rd and long situations. Beard awaiting the shotgun snap, has it, looks over the middle and throws, and the pass intercepted. Grant Harmon picks it off at about the 48-yard line in Bulldog territory, heading to the far side of the field, cutting back to the 30, runs into his own man at the 25, bounces off of that and gets inside the 20 and down to about the 18-yard line. Grant Harmon gets the INT, his 6th on the season, and for the Bulldogs as a defense, they're 16th on the year.
You know, the thing about that, Matt, is the fact that the receiver really was not open on that play, and to try to get it to him, he had to throw over top the receiver and try to lob it in there, and of course he put a little bit too much on it, and Harmon's right there in the right spot. That's what I talked about in the pregame about having defensive backs who are faster than the receivers.
From the 18 of Musselman, 1st and 10 coming for the Bulldogs with 4:36 to play here in this opening quarter, and the pass near side caught by Gerard Bowie. He was wide open along this near side as he got in behind Blake Hartman, and Elijah Banks out there at quarterback laid it out there nicely, connecting for the 18-yard score.
I'll tell you what, he could have been eating a sandwich while he was waiting on that ball to come to him there. He was so wide open, and this is the problem that you have when you start playing some man-to-man coverage in the secondary and they're all looking around expecting some help. There was no help on that play.
Back-to-back offensive plays in which the Bulldogs are able to score. The 1-yard run from Kearney capping off their last drive, and this, a one-play drive, 18 yards, and the extra point up and good for Chris Catlett. And just like that, Martinsburg extends the lead. A full 1-minute timeout, and then we come back with Martinsburg in front of Musselman 14-0.
Come to Berkeley County, West Virginia and enjoy the events, the history, outdoor adventures, farm-to-table dining. Just 90 minutes from Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Berkeley County, West Virginia provides small-town sensibility close to the big city. Visit travelwv.com to find out more about all that Berkeley County has to offer.
Well, the ensuing kickoff is popped up along the near side, takes a high hop up into the air, and it looks like the Martinsburg Bulldogs will have it as they are able to grab it along the near sideline, and Martinsburg will get possession. So the Bulldogs not going to kick deep, but they bounce it. It took that high hop into the air, and Martinsburg gets it.
Well, I tell you, that's one of the things that you don't expect, but you know, you got to be prepared for that. Everybody is kicking some type of unusual kickoff, and that one just popped in the air, and the Musselman players waited for it to come down, and, of course, Martinsburg player went in the air, grabbed the football, and came down with it.
So 1st and 10 now from the 47 of Musselman. We'll give you the drive summary on that last drive in a moment. Elijah Banks back out there, slings a pass far side, bobbling and making the catch is Gerard Bowie, but very quickly taken down along that far side near the numbers. That is, it looks like a 3-1 in there to make that stop, and it's the defensive back, Cody Schindeldecker, 5'8" sophomore, wrapping him up, and it'll actually be a 1-yard loss on the play. By the way, Vic, that last drive, one play, 18 yards in 7 seconds, the 13th touchdown pass for Banks and the 10th touchdown catch for Bowie. The two connect here, but actually for a loss of a yard. So from the 48 of Musselman on a 2nd down and 11, Banks will have Kearney to his right side, takes the snap, hands it off. Kearney coming left, has a little opening, spins away from a couple of tacklers as he got into that linebacking core and gets spun down at the 40-yard line after a pickup of 8, and it'll set up a manageable 3rd down and 3.
Well, we're starting to see a little bit now with the short, quick passes. We're now don't see as much blitzing as we had seen in the first series, so therefore starting to crack a little bit between tackle to tackle. You've seen some running room.
Banks will have 3 receivers to his left, a single receiver, Cello Teneval, to his right. The Dogs get the play call from the sideline. There is the snap. Banks to throw, far side, quick out, caught by Cello Teneval. Can he stay in bounds? No, gets forced out along that far sideline. Guarding him was Trevin Carter. He's a sophomore, listed as a running back on the roster. The defensive back was able to get Cello Teneval out of bounds at the 24-yard line, but that gain is good for 16 and a Bulldog first.
Well, that's what we were talking about, throwing the ball in front of them. Throw it in front, throw it in front. Snap of the ball, they're backing off because they don't want to get beat deep. They saw a couple of long throws. One should have been caught for a touchdown, another one that was caught for a touchdown, so they have to give up some ground, so you throw under.
From the 24-yard line, Banks to throw on 1st down, sends it far side, receiver screen. That's Teneval again on that catch. Able to split through a couple of would-be tacklers being blocked by those other wideouts out there, and he'll get it down to about the 15-yard line.
Remember what Coach Walker said? Take what they give you, and that's exactly what they're giving you. They're giving you the underthrow, so you throw it under, you catch, and let your runners run with the football.
That gain is good for 9. It will bring up 2nd down and 1. Martinsburg really getting the offense moving now. Banks wants to throw, has time, deep along the near side, overthrows the intended target, trying to get that one to Gerard Bowie, who was cutting from the middle of the field towards the near sideline. I think there was some contact in there as there was some traffic, and that slowed down Bowie, and the pass sailed well over his head.
Yeah, I think they got a little banged around a little bit there. I think the patterns weren't run very, very crisp on that particular play, but I think Banks did the best thing. I think it looked to me, intentionally threw it a little bit high because he wasn't open.
3rd down and 1, now from the 15 of Musselman. Martinsburg with their 4th offensive possession. Banks has the shotgun snap. He wants to keep it off that right side. He'll have the first down as he gets outside the numbers to the 10 and gets taken down just inside the 10 at about the 9-yard line. Good blocking along that right side of the line, able to spring Banks. He doesn't run a lot, but he's been effective when he has run the football. He's got 9 yards on 18 carries and 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he is the throwing quarterback. He's going to throw it first and run second, but he can run the football. He just doesn't do it on a regular basis.
From the 9-yard line on a 1st down and goal to go, there is a penalty marker down right at the end of the play as the handoff went to the tailback, and just not much running room there for Naeem Kearney as he got bottled up quickly. Now we wait to see what the flags are. Could not tell if maybe someone got a hold of a face mask, if it may even be a hold, or in fact could be multiple penalties.
It could be both of those.
Yeah, because our head referee getting a full amount of conversation.
Personal foul against Musselman.
So they all saw the same thing. That personal foul will be a half the distance to the goal penalty. That's going to move it from the 9 down to about the 4. And that would be unofficially 3 penalties, about 14 yards now called against Musselman, as they've had a couple down here deep that have been half the distance penalties.
I think the official didn't give complete definition of that, but he said personal foul, but it was a face mask.
So from the 5-yard line now on a 1st and goal. Banks awaiting. No, that's Harmon back out there. He takes the shotgun snap, fakes the handoff, goes to his right, gets hit and is falling down at the goal line. Football comes free. We still haven't heard a whistle as a Musselman player picked it up and then got taken down in the end zone. Still waiting to see exactly what the call will be, as there's some pushing and shoving at the end of the play. I couldn't even tell exactly who recovered that loose football, but apparently it's going to belong to Musselman. Let's check in with Jason down on the sideline, see if he has any better explanation.
Well, Grant Harmon hit the ground and the ball came free, and Musselman recovered the ball. And if they give that to Musselman, then that's the worst call I've seen all year.
Waiting to see what our head referee will indicate. Touchback, and it is going to belong to the Musselman Applemen. Jason, did you see who was the one to pick it up? I couldn't tell the number with all the bodies down there.
I couldn't tell who it was. I was actually appalled the fact that they actually called that a fumble, because Grant actually was reaching across the...
Yeah, he was hitting the ground as the ball came free. It is a fumble, and the Bulldogs turn it over, their first turnover in this ball game. With 1:37 to play in the opening quarter, it will now belong to Musselman. They'll scrimmage from their own 20-yard line. Sideline reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16, accountable, ethical, responsible. So the Applemen dodge a bullet there after the onside kick recovery by Martinsburg and threatening to take a 3-score lead. The Dogs right now out in front 14-0, and now timeout. An official from the far sideline is coming in to talk with our head referee.
You know, the bad part about it is on that fumble, there was no reaction from any official. They never saw it.
Right.
How could you call it if you don't see it?
Well, whatever the question was, I guess it's the positioning of the football. They're going to move it from a hash mark to the middle of the field. So the ball simply gets shifted over, and now we're ready to go. Beard out of the gun will have Odom as a back behind him in that pistol formation. 3 receivers here to the right. Hartman, the very tight slot. There is the snap and the handoff. Odom over top of the right side of his line, gets a little cut back to his left. It's going to have a good 6-yard gain out to about the 26-yard line. Coming off the bottom of the pile, helping to make that stop for the Bulldogs, the linebacker Aaron Pearson.
Good job offensively, good push by the offensive line and Musselman on that play. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 5. 14-0. Martinsburg leads it. 1 minute, 5 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
So far, that's been the best offensive play for the Applemen, who now have 3 running backs to the left side of the quarterback. The deep man in that 3-man eye is Blake Hartman, and he gets hit right at the line of scrimmage, driven backwards, and a penalty marker comes in at the end of the play, and that may be another one against Musselman, as there was a quick shove right at the end of the play. That's going to come at the end of what was about a 1-yard gain out to the 27, and then they'll move the football back from there.
And to me, it looked like a dead ball foul, so the play would stand and would bring up 4th down. Let's see what happens, if he calls it a dead ball or not.
Well, it'll bring up 3rd down.
I'm sorry, 3rd down, rather.
It was a 2nd and 5. They gained the 1 yard, and then they moved the football back. It's going to be set down at about the 13-yard line, it looks like. So minus 15, and for the Applemen, now penalized 5 times for 31 yards. So 3rd down, now about to 16 or 17 yards to go for a first. Man in motion to the near side, and a penalty marker flies, and we'll have offside on Martinsburg. Now some sloppy play on both sides right now, as that officially becomes the first penalty that has been thrown against Martinsburg. The +5 on the offside, going to make this a 3rd down and roughly 12.
We're under a minute here in the first quarter, 30 seconds on a running clock. 14-0, Martinsburg leads. Is getting bogged down with some bad play here on both sides.
Well, Vic, they have faced a 3rd and 20, a 3rd and 10, and now this a 3rd down and 12. They're 0 for 2 so far. Beard awaiting the shotgun snap. 3 receivers to his left. Oldham behind him. There is the snap, a little low and wide. He grabs it, then has the football knocked free. Smith able to knock it free. Football's loose down inside the 5-yard line. It will be recovered by the Bulldogs. Martinsburg will have it at the 1. Anthony Smith able to knock that football away, and it looks like Brinegar, who might have been the one to recover.
Yes, Anthony Smith getting loose at the outside linebacker spot on the blitz that time. He didn't see him coming, came from his blind side. Was able to knock it out of his hand. Smart play, because he had an easy tackle there, no problem, but the aspect of tackling him and also raking across the arm, knocking the ball loose with 5 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
That would technically be turnover number 3 for Musselman, as Martinsburg has had an interception, the strip sack fumble recovery, and they've also recovered an onside kick. Elijah Banks out there at quarterback for the Bulldogs. Takes the shotgun snap off the right side of the line. Pulls his way into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. A 1-yard touchdown run for Elijah Banks on 1st down and goal to go will be the final play of our opening quarter. They will kick the extra point, and then we'll head into our first quarter break.
I actually saw a Martinsburg player knock a Musselman lineman down, defensive lineman, on that play, and they actually helped each other up. That's a good sign, because this game is awfully chippy here in the first quarter. A lot of pushing and shoving. Here's the extra point attempt. It's up, and it is good.
So Catlett adds the PAT, and we'll go to quarter number 2 when we come back at the end of 1. Martinsburg leads Musselman 21-0.
Ethical, responsible, and not afraid of a hard day's work. Elect Michael Folk for West Virginia State Senate.
We'll give you that scoring drive summary in just a moment. First, the ensuing kickoff, as Chris Catlett puts it on the tee at the 40-yard line to our left along the far side hash mark. He approaches, this time sends a deep kick down the middle of the field. Blake Hartman has it at about the 8. Works to the far side, 15 up the hash mark to the 20. Breaks a tackle out to the 25, grabbed and spun down right at that 30-yard line. Well, for the Bulldogs, a one-play, 1-yard drive. Took 5 seconds, the final 5 seconds of that opening quarter. A 1-yard touchdown run for Elijah Banks, his 4th rushing touchdown on the season. That came after the strip sack fumble by Anthony Smith, recovered by A.J. Brinegar to set up that Bulldog offense.
Well, it took a whole first quarter, but I think both these teams are going to settle down and play a little bit more football. A lot of pushing and shoving and, that type of thing going on in the ball game, and talking, jabbering. Officials have thrown a couple flags, so now maybe we can settle in and play some football.
From their own 29, Musselman with their 4th offensive possession. Beard out of the gun with Odom behind him. Awaits that shotgun snap. He's got it, hands it off. Odom looking for running room, grabbed and eventually brought down. Hanging on was A.J. Brinegar. Got some help from Pearson as they're able to make that tackle virtually at the line of scrimmage. So far, the biggest offensive play for Musselman has been a gain of 6 yards.
Yeah, this Martinsburg, again, we're talking about these guys up front who are quick. They get off the ball, they get into gaps, they force the runners to run around them, and that gives the linebackers plenty of time to get there to give them help.
2nd and 10 from their own 29. Beard this time with an empty backfield. 2 receivers out to the far side, 3 to the near side. A couple of very tight slots. Hartman lined up along the near side hash mark. Odom, one of those slots, now goes into motion into the backfield, sets up in the pistol formation. Hartman starts across in motion, and Martinsburg jumps. That's a tough one, as one of the big guys right over top of the football, I think that's Michael Cullinay, went directly to the center and shoved him backwards. So he must have been anticipating that snap as opposed to really seeing, or maybe the center even squeezed that football just a little bit. Either way, it's a 5-yard offside penalty against the Bulldogs. The second time Martinsburg has been penalized for offside. Moves it out to the 34-yard line where it becomes a 2nd down and 5. Again, empty backfield as Beard slaps the hands together. Really bobs the head, barking out to the signals, trying to get Martinsburg to jump again. Now there is the snap. Beard's going to keep it off that right side, and he'll push his way forward out to about the 47-yard line. That gain is going to be, 37. My apologies. I got ahead of myself. 37. That gain's going to be good for about 3 and bring up a manageable 3rd and 2.
3rd and 2. This is something where you want to be if you're Musselman. 3rd and 2, 3rd and short.
Well, they are 0 for 3 on 3rd down conversions so far, but those have all been 3rd and long. 3 men in that I formation to the left side of the quarterback out of the shotgun. Handoff to Hartman running to his right, and Trey Sign grabs him from behind, got some help and did not get there. Michael Boite, the defensive back, hit him high while Sign hit him low, and they were able to keep his momentum from going forward, and he's taken down for virtually no gain. Well, give him a yard on the play, and it's 4th and 1. Wow.
That was a great defensive play.
Well, let's see what Musselman will do. Right now they're lining up as though they may go for it on this 4th down and 1. There is a pistol formation, and there is that snap. There is that handoff, and Odom hit, drives forward. I don't know. It's going to all depend on the spot as Sebastian Odom just continued to keep those legs churning. Off the bottom of the pile, A.J. Brinegar, one of the last ones who had wrapped him up. They are going to mark his progress out close to the 40, and that's a 1st down.
That's a 1st down, but that spot, he got a 1st down. I think that seemed a little generous there. I thought it would be close enough to measure.
Yeah, I thought so as well, but no measurement needed as he ends up getting close to 2 full yards. So a 1st down and 10, and that's their first down. From the 40-yard line, pitch in the backfield to Hartman, looking for running room to his right. A little quick cut back to his left, and he found an opening out beyond the 45 and tackled at the 46-yard line. A 6-yard gain, and now Musselman trying to get a little offensive momentum.
I think one of the things we're looking at here, Matt, we're looking at a team that thinks that they can run the football, and they're going to kind of somewhat abandon their passing game.
Well, again, they came in averaging 253 yards a game on the ground. That's been their bread and butter. See if they can keep it going after picking up that first down moments ago. On 2nd down and about 4. Fake handoff to Hartman going by, and now Beard over top of his left guard and tackle, able to work out to about the 48-yard line. That's a gain of 2, and will bring up a 3rd down and 2.
Well, Musselman's going to try to keep the pressure on you here as we have a very quick huddle for Musselman.
They're quickly on top of the football, and now we're going to have a defensive timeout for the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Defensive coordinator Buddy Hessen out onto the field, hands on hips, as he brings his defense to himself at the midfield stripe along the near side numbers. We'll take a 30-second break and then come back to Coburn Field. We've got 8 minutes, 10 seconds left in our first half, and Martinsburg leads Musselman 21-0. So Martinsburg has burned their final timeout of this first half. This one a defensive timeout as they try to stop Musselman on a 3rd down and 2 from their own 48. Hartman in motion from left to right. There is the snap. Beard, the lone set in the backfield, and the quarterback trying to run for it, will not get it as he's hit and driven backwards. Nice push by the defensive line up front. Michael Cullinay helping to lead the way.
Good job by Cullinay. He got up in there and held on for dear life till he got some help from his friends. 7 minutes, 50 seconds ago here in the second quarter. Musselman again is going to go for it. They're down 21-0 here, and I guess they kind of feel like we're not going to give the football up. We think we can make this yard.
On 4th down and a yard from their own 49. Odom again in the backfield, pistol formation. Beard barking out the signal, slaps his hands together. Martinsburg defensively maintaining their position. They were trying to get him to jump. The Bulldogs did not. Again, Beard barks out the signals. He's got a quick pass near side. Hartman with the catch. He's hit. Nathan Schweinbrotten, the linebacker, saw that play coming and was able to get there. Pardon me, that's Harmon out there along with 13 Marshall. My apologies, I thought I saw the 18. It's a 13 and a 10 as the free safety and the defensive back converge. They make the stop at the 45, and it's actually a loss of 4 yards.
Wow, I understand the situation with Musselman. You know, they feel like they can get that yard, but just kind of question the call in that particular play. Simply, it's a wide open field out here, and you got a guy out here who's 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, and you're throwing to him, and he's got to run 5 yards to get back to the line of scrimmage. Then he's got to pick up that 2 yards.
So now 1st and 10 with the Bulldogs starting in Musselman territory at the 45, and it's Harmon out there at quarterback. He's got that shotgun snap, looking along the near side, now lofting deep down the middle, looking for Marshall. He's got it at the 15-yard line. Drags the tackler inside the 5, and Teddy Marshall gets taken down at the 2. They're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. 44 yards on the pass completion.
Well, he just seemed like Martinsburg is able to throw the football at will as long as he has time, either quarterback, and the receivers are getting open.
On 1st down and goal, the Bulldogs stay in the spread formation. 2 receivers each way, Kearney to the right of the quarterback. Harmon awaiting that snap. He's got it. Fakes the handoff. Harmon keeps it off the right side, skips into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Well blocked by the Bulldogs off that right side, allowing Harmon to step in from 1 yard out, and it takes him just 2 plays to cover 45 yards and add to the lead.
Well, it's not a whole lot you can say on a 2-play drive, and the bad part about it is Musselman kind of put themselves in that situation there. I think they could have come up with a little better play, a little better situation to try to pick up that 2 yards to continue that drive.
Chris Catlett on for another PAT. Snap placement, kick up, and it is through. Let's take a full minute break. 6:52 left in the first half. Now Martinsburg in front of Musselman, 28-0. Well, let's take a look at the scoring drive summary for the Bulldogs. 2 plays, 45 yards in 26 seconds after a 44-yard pass from Grant Harmon to Teddy Marshall. A 1-yard touchdown run for Harmon, his 7th of the season. 28-0 Martinsburg. Drive summary, a service of 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. Squib kick along the near side, and it will go out of bounds along the near sideline at about the 19, and it was grabbed on the way out by Ben Bartles, a junior running back, and instead of the ball going out and Musselman getting it at the 35, they will get it all the way back at the 19.
I see the officials discussing it here, but there's no discussion. The ball was in the air, and he caught the football before it went out of bounds, and he was standing out of bounds, so that's where it will be. 6 minutes, 52 seconds ago in the first half, 28-0, and Musselman now, who's having trouble obviously throwing the football, had some success running, but again, you got to be able to do something on first and second down. You can't have these third and longs, and that's what they were running into, these third and longs, and you're just not going to do well against Martinsburg with third and longs.
Yeah, Beard has completed just 1 of 3 passes for -4 yards. Ethan Walker now in the backfield, takes the handoff on first down, and Walker gets met after a gain of 2 out to the 21 and quickly taken down. First carry for Walker, looking at his numbers on the season. He's got just 11 carries coming in for 42 yards, or an average of 3.8 a carry. From the 21, second down about 8 after that 2-yard gain. Once again, it will be Walker in the backfield. Pistol formation behind Beard. There is the snap. They fake the handoff. Beard wants to keep it, working around the right side. Cannot get by Ricky Barrett. The linebacker fought off the block and made the tackle at the same time.
Yes, he did. That was just a great play. He's exactly as you said. He was fighting off the blocker and made the tackle.
Wait and see where they spot it. Looks like he did get back to the line of scrimmage, which is the 21. It will make it a 3rd down and 8 with no gain on that play. And again, Vic, here we go, 3rd downs, 3rd and 20, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 2. They didn't convert that one. 3rd and 2 again, didn't convert. Now with 3rd and 8, they're 0 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. This Bulldog defense as a whole has allowed only 22 of 99 coming in, or 22% on 3rd down conversions to their opponent. Beard out of the shotgun. Awaits the snap. He's got it. Fakes a handoff. Fakes another handoff. Then gets it off to Oldham. Oldham out of the backfield in the flat on the left side. Going to gain about 3 yards out to the 24. Still well defensed by the Dogs. He faked the handoff to Oldham. Then faked a handoff on like an end around to Hartman. Then turned back to his left and gave that quick pass to Oldham, but didn't get much. 4th down, and you got to punt the football away here.
You got to punt this time.
That pass completion gaining just 3 yards. And with the football at the 24, Beard will look to get the punt out of there. He takes the snap, barely got it away, almost a block, but the end-over-end kick bounces at the midfield stripe and takes a Musselman roll, grabbed at the 36-yard line by Kagan Teets, the sophomore wide receiver, and Martinsburg will have it there at their own 36. So the punt covers 40 yards, including that bounce, and there is no return, so Martinsburg will take over. And this defense for Musselman has to find a way to make a stop here. The offense has not been able to get anything going, and since a stop on the first Bulldog possession, Martinsburg has scored 1, 2, 3, 4 on 4 of their next 5 possessions, only with a turnover in the end zone on a fumble recovery that stopped them from scoring on that one drive.
Well, they definitely have to make a stand on this particular series for Martinsburg. 4 minutes and 42 seconds, a long time to go here in the second quarter. Down 28-0. They've got to make a play here.
Elijah Banks back out there at quarterback. He's got that shotgun snap. He wants to throw all day in the pocket. Lets it go near side. Oh, got it over top of the underneath coverage, right onto the fingertips of Teddy Marshall, but he could not bring it in. Coverage on the near sideline by Ben Bartles. Underneath it was Trevin Carter, who leaped up into the air, thought he would get a hand on it. It went over his fingertips, but then Marshall couldn't hold on.
Well, it's just one of those things where it kind of flashed right in front of his face, and I think in that little flash, He has just lost contact with the football. It's a good throw by Harmon.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was one heck of a throw. Banks at quarterback will take the snap and hand it off. Naeem Kearney coming here to his right, able to break a couple of tackles, get around a couple of defenders, get into the secondary where Blake Hartman in Musselman territory dives in and gets him by the ankles, making the tackle at the 44-yard line.
When the passing game is successful, sometimes it's not necessarily completing every pass down the field, but you got the defense coming upfield. You get a guy like Kearney who has great vision, can find that hole up inside, and that's what he did. 4:20 to go, first half. It's still a 28-0 football game for Martinsburg.
How about 20 yards on that carry for Naeem Kearney, his longest of the night. Banks taking the shotgun snap, gives a little pump fake on a wide receiver screen, now wants to throw, rolling out of the pocket, penalty marker down. We'll have a hold on the play as Banks is eventually sacked back at the 50-yard line. Now, this becomes an interesting decision for Brian Thomas and the coaching staff. The sack would be a loss of 5 yards and would set up a second down, and actually that's a loss of 6, so it would be 2nd and 16. Do you give the Bulldogs the down over to take the hold?
They're going to decline it.
All right, so they'll take that sack and the loss on the play as Banks gets taken down for a 6-yard loss, and now from the midfield stripe, it will bring up a 2nd and 16.
Well, I think it's the right decision on this under these circumstances.
Clock winding, 3:51 and counting in our first half, 28-0 Martinsburg. 3 receivers here to the right, single receiver to the left. That's Harmon back out there at quarterback, rolling near side. He wants to run, and Oldham eventually able to grab a hold of him and bring him down for no gain on the play. That looked promising there for just a moment, but what little hole may have been there, Sebastian Oldham very quickly closed.
Well, yeah, Harmon made it look like a run all the way. Had he put the ball up or shown the ball a little bit there, then the secondary people have to honor that, and he just didn't do that. He just simply put the ball down and just took off running. That's something that I know it was a run play, but if you use that ball as some type of a decoy.
Harmon out of the gun, hands it off. Kearney gives to Gerard Bowie on the end around. Bowie, can he avoid the tackle in the backfield? Oh, he puts a hand down, maintains his balance. Now here he comes the other direction. Bowie has blockers out in front to the 40, to the near side, 35 and 30, to the 25 and 20. Grabbed by Hartman and forced out of bounds inside the 15. Mark him at the 12-yard line. Oh, my goodness, that's just athleticism and speed from Gerard Bowie.
Now, this is something that, again, we've talked about all year long. Not everybody has this. I mean, Martinsburg's got a Gerard Bowie, but they've got 3 or 4 other guys can do the exact same thing. You're lucky if you have one guy can do that. They have about 3 or 4. 2:50 to go. First half. Martinsburg takes it 1st and 10 at the 11.
38 yards on that carry. He probably ran about 60 to get there. Handoff, Naeem Kearney, right up the middle. Made a step to his left to get by the initial line of scrimmage. Got into the secondary, making a step to his right, and eventually gets taken down. It looks like right at the stick. Will it be 1st and goal or not? No. They'll mark it at about the 3. So give him 9 yards, and the Bulldogs will face a 2nd down and 1, and we will have a timeout on the field taken by the Musselman defense. We'll take a 30-second break and then come back to Coburn Field, where with 2:29 to play in our first half, Martinsburg leads Musselman 28-0. Hell, earlier today in college football, the Shepherd University Rams scored a 58-35 win at home against West Virginia Wesleyan. Former Bulldog quarterback Tyson Bagent, the true freshman for the Rams, completed 29 of 37 passes for 306 yards and a new Shepherd single-game record, 7 touchdown passes.
That's a career for most guys.
All right, the Bulldogs out of the timeout on a 2nd down and 1. from the 3-yard line of Musselman. There is the snap. Harmon, fade pattern, back near corner of the end zone. Grab made by Teddy Marshall as he went right up over top of the defensive back and made that grab and came down inbounds. That's just a great athletic play by Teddy Marshall.
Wow, that was just, you're exactly right. A great play, great catch. Nice throw, but great catch.
Justin Lewis, a junior defensive back, had all the position that you could ask for. He did everything on that play. It's just Teddy Marshall went up and got it. Jason was right there in the corner. What did it look like from your angle?
And I'm telling you what, that was an amazing catch and an amazing pass because that was placed in one spot. That's the only place he could have got his feet down.
The touchdown and the subsequent extra points mean Martinsburg has better than 30 points in this first half. The average halftime score this season has been 40-5. With 2:23 to play in our first half here, we take a 30-second break with Martinsburg now leading 35-0. Let's give you that scoring drive summary, a service of 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions for the Bulldogs on their 7th possession of this first half. They get into the end zone for a 5th time, and it's a 3-yard touchdown pass play that goes from Harmon to Marshall to seal the deal, and the Bulldogs again with a squib kick along the near side, bouncing away from the Musselman Appleman, recovered by Ricky Barrett, and Martinsburg will have the football. A little bit of extra pushing and shoving at the end of the play, and we do have a penalty marker down. I think a little excessive celebration by Martinsburg's Ricky Barrett. We'll have unsportsmanlike against the Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs will have it. The ball would be at the 48-yard line of Musselman, but the penalty is going to get marked off from there. It was a 7-play, 64-yard drive in 2 minutes and 19 seconds for the Bulldogs, capped by that 3-yard touchdown pass. And now we wait to see how this penalty is going to be marked off. Oh boy, the Bulldogs with yet another offensive opportunity. Even after that penalty gets marked off, they've got pretty decent field position as they will start at their own 37-yard line. Second time today, Martinsburg has been able to grab a loose ball on a kickoff.
Well, I think both of these teams are going to have to rein their players in. This is getting a little bit out of hand here. I know I talked about it in the first quarter. The game was pretty chippy, but it's 35-0 now.
Yeah, it's getting even chippier. Elijah Banks out there hands it off to Trey Sign on first down. Sign spins out of a tackle at the midfield stripe along the far side. Hash mark east to the 30. Cuts out around a block by a wide receiver. Cello Tenevall inside the 20 to the 15. Down to the 10-yard line and forced out of bounds at the far side 8-yard line. On first down, the handoff goes to Trey Sign. Sign finds a little opening up the middle and then takes the football for 55 yards.
Very nice run, very nice run. Just another good job of blocking up front. Again, the big thing is early in the football game, I thought Musselman did a really nice job at Martinsburg now being able to, with their quickness, being able to manipulate the offensive line.
First down, goal to go from the 8. Trey Sign with his first carry, and it covers 55 yards. They'll give him the ball again. Straight ahead running. He's met in the hole, driven backwards and taken down. Nice job that time as the defensive front able to get a little penetration. Chris Reinhardt helping to make that stop. That gain will be good for a yard down to the 7. A second down and goal to go from there. The Bulldogs look to the near sideline as the clock winds. Down to 1:18 and counting in this first half. Already in front 35-0, and the Dogs looking for more. Elijah Banks at quarterback, takes that shotgun snap. Hands it off. Trey Sign running right, runs right into the arms of Reinhardt, who will make that tackle at the 7-yard line. No loss, no gain on the play, and the Dogs will face a 3rd down and goal to go from the 7.
That's a nice play by Reinhardt, fighting off the block there. So we're under a minute to go here in the first half. So 3rd and goal for Martinsburg. We're under 45 seconds to go here. 2 more plays, apparently.
Banks has the shotgun snap, looks near side, now far side, wide receiver screen, catch made by Cello Teneval. Teneval to the sideline, spins off of the tackle, back to his right, and gets into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Looked like they had him bottled up, but he would not be denied.
Well, yeah, they had him bottled up right there about the 2-yard line, and he spun out of one tackle, and an arm reach by another player. I think one of his own players helped push him in the end zone there. With 30 seconds left to go here in the first half, that'll make it 41-0 with the extra point coming up.
That is the 14th touchdown pass for Banks, the 8th touchdown reception on the season for Cello Teneval, and Martinsburg adds a full 7 as Chris Catlett powers that PAT up and through the uprights. A 30-second break with 30 seconds left in our first half, and Martinsburg now leading Musselman 42-0. So Martinsburg able to put together a 4-play drive that takes a little better than a couple of minutes off the clock as it winds down from a little better than 2.5 minutes down to just 30 seconds remaining in our first half. A 7-yard touchdown pass on the wide receiver screen that goes from Banks to Teneval, and Martinsburg leads 42-0. The Dogs now 5 of 7 on 3rd down conversions in this first half, scoring that touchdown on a 3rd down conversion. Well, with the ball laying on its side, Catlett bounces a kick along the near side, and he shot it straight out of bounds at that midfield stripe. Penalty markers fly, and they'll add 5 more yards from where it went out of bounds, and Musselman will take over.
Believe it or not, this is a critical situation for Musselman. And even though it's only 30 seconds left to go in the first half here, down 42-0, what do? You put it in the air and you start heaving it down the field, and you got a couple timeouts left. Let's see what they try to do. You make a critical mistake, quarterback gets hit from behind, fumble the ball or something, or throw an interception. You don't want to be any worse off than you are right now.
Beard out of the gun with a pistol formation, and movement by everybody except the center.
Well, the official is standing over the football. The umpire, they haven't played the ball yet. He hasn't put it into play. So the center still try to snap it with the referee standing over top of the ball.
All right, so now things get situated and we are ready to go. Now the play clock stopped at 9 seconds.
They'll have to reset that as well.
29.6 seconds.
That play clock should be reset also, but
well, right now they're just going to hold everything and let Musselman snap the football, it looks like. Beard brings Hartman in motion from left to right. He takes that shotgun snap, hands it off to Oldham. Oldham running right, gets quickly tripped up and taken down. Barrett into the backfield, the linebacker, getting some help from Terrell Good. The stop comes back at the 49, and that's a loss of 3 yards.
Well, I think Musselman's doing the right thing. Just simply let's fold our tent here for the first half and not make another mistake here and give them an opportunity on a pick off a return here or something. We're down to 5 seconds. They may not get the snap off here.
Beard awaits that snap, and he'll bring a man in motion, but the clocks strike zeros. We are at the half with Martinsburg in front 42-0. Let's check in with Jason. He's got Martinsburg head coach David Walker.
Coach, pretty dominating first half. Your thoughts?
I'm extremely pleased the way we're playing. Our guys, they came ready to play tonight.
That was one thing you talked about last week. They didn't get off to a fast start. You are happy with it? They came ready to play out here?
Yeah, they did. And, I think we're playing we start off a little slow with the bad snap on the punt and and then dropping the obvious would have been a touchdown. But it's early, so I was pleased with how we recuperated from that.
You have to be happy with your offensive efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, we scored 42 points, so I'm pretty pleased.
I'm going to let you get in, Coach. We'll talk after the game. There you go, guys.
All right, head coach David Walker of the Martinsburg Bulldogs meeting up with our own Jason Colrick on the sideline. Reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16, accountable, ethical, responsible. We'll get into our halftime activities after this timeout. We'll come back to Coburn Field, where Martinsburg is leading Musselman 42-0.
When you're hurting, we're here. When things are confusing, we're here. When you need answers, we're here. Brown Funeral Home. We've been caring for families like yours for generations, since 1880. Whether you want to plan ahead or you need us now. Our families are precious to us, and so are yours. Brown Funeral Home. In Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson, we're here when you need us.
We all know what a good time looks like, but what is it made of? We can think of a few things. In this case, it's handcrafted food to gather around, an ever-changing variety of wine, and a Friday night. Do yourself a favor. Experience the good in a good time.
If you're not progressing in healthcare, you're falling behind.
W Medicine has planted itself here, and they're the first university that I've found who wants to take ownership of this population, of Western Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and the good people of West Virginia. And it's really refreshing to see.
I was able to do things that the patients were going away for, which is good for the patients, and it's good for us because we have more resources.
It certainly has helped take us to another level.
First ever Tri-State League title. After 6 years of coaching, Mr. Wilson changed his hat to that of athletic director.
Well, we welcome you back once again here to Coburn Field along with Vic Holmes. I'm Matt Miller. Down on the sidelines, Jason Colrick. Matt Crawford at the studio. Chip Rittenhouse is our TV 10 cameraman. It's Hall of Fame night as well as senior night here at Coburn Field, and the Hall of Fame class inducted yesterday being introduced to the crowd on hand here tonight. Congratulations to Doug Arndt, to Brian Ned Burks, to Steve Roach, to the family of the late Clyde Wilson, to Jim Daly, to James Bob Fleener, and to George Karos, the Martinsburg mayor, who are all now enshrined in the Martinsburg Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations, all very well deserved. All right, Vic, as we look at the first half, a very well deserved 42-0 lead for Martinsburg. They have done it offensively and defensively.
Yes, they have. They've done it in all facets, and we talked about that in the ball game of getting started, getting off very, very quickly. We talked about some type of ball control for Musselman. We haven't seen it. They haven't been able to run the ball, and they haven't. The passing the football has even been that much worse. I think part of it is the fact they're afraid the fact that they can't. Number one, they can't get receivers open, and number two, they don't have enough time to make those particular plays develop for themselves. Secondly, we talked about big plays. If they could do something on first and second down to make third down a little bit easier, no, they haven't been able to do that. We talked about Martinsburg. They will be who they are, and obviously the first series they had a easy touchdown pass was dropped, which does happen, and which was very unusual, but it did happen. But after that, they picked up from that point and just simply started running the football, passing the football, and it's been to the point where Musselman just is not able to stop them because of the fact that they're able to throw the short pass and make it into a long play, or they're able to throw deep, which they've done as well. So again, as I said in the pregame, this is the toughest team I think I've seen in a long time to try to defend against, because they have so many weapons, can hit you with so many things.
8 possessions in the first half for Martinsburg, 6 touchdowns, 1 punt, and 1 turnover on a fumble that occurred right at the 1-yard line and went into the end zone where Musselman recovered it. Meanwhile, for the Applemen, they have had 6 first-half possessions, 2 punts, 2 offensive turnovers, turned it over on downs once on a missed opportunity on 4th and 1, and they took the football into the locker room at the half. We'll run the complete totals for you coming up, but Vic, I have minus 1 yard on 21 plays in the first half for Musselman.
Yeah, and, Musselman's running a lot of wing tee types of plays and so forth. It's going to be difficult to run that type of an offense against Martinsburg, especially with Martinsburg's ability to play man-to-man coverage in the secondary, which has freed up the linebackers, and they've got quick linebackers who read well. And for those people who know anything about football, I know some ins and outs about football, you will understand that very easily. But the thing is, you have a secondary that covers the receivers, and they get no help. They don't need any help. So therefore, the linebackers have a lot more freedom to do what they do best, and that is cover the field from sideline to sideline. And they've done a great job here tonight.
Well, Matt Crawford standing by back at the studio. He's got highlights of our first half and as well scores from last night's action around the Mountain State and some college football as well. It's our halftime scoreboard show coming up next at the intermission. It is Martinsburg leading Musselman 42-0.
Mr. Cleaner is an award-winning journalist whose 4-decade career encompassed broadcast, print, and digital.
Well, on your end? Haven't got any complaints or not?
Going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format, on campus or online, that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College, because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learn@valley.com.
And we welcome you into the halftime scoreboard show. Matt Crawford here with you in the Talk Radio WRNR studios. 42-0, your halftime score. Martinsburg over the Musselman Applemen. Let's get it started with some highlights. Early in the first quarter, it was Naeem Kearney, a little 1-yard catch and run, though, to put the Bulldogs up 7-0.
3 receivers here to the wide side of the field left. There is the snap. There is the quick pitch. Kearney around the corner on the right side. He's in for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Harmon had the defense come to him, gave the pitch to the right, and Kearney had green turf in front of him to get into the end zone.
You heard Grant Harmon's name there. What a first half he had offensively and defensively. On the ensuing drive for the Musselman Applemen, Grant Harmon, an interception, his 6th of the year and the team's 16th on the year. Harmon would connect with Gerard Bowie, this from 18 yards out, to give the Bulldogs a 14-0 lead.
Here in this opening quarter, and the pass near side caught by Gerard Bowie. He was wide open along this near side as he got in behind Blake Hartman, and Elijah Banks out there at quarterback laid it out there nicely, connecting for the 18-yard score.
My apologies. Elijah Banks to Gerard Bowie right there, not Grant Harmon. Banks would find the end zone on the next drive from 1 yard out. It was a touchdown run from that 1 yard line set up by A.J. Brenniger's fumble recovery at the 1 yard line.
Elijah Banks out there at quarterback for the Bulldogs, takes the shotgun snap off the right side of the line, pulls his way into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
21-0 your score after 1 quarter of play, and the Bulldogs would add in the second quarter. Grant Harmon a 1 yard touchdown run, making it 28-0.
On first down and goal, the Bulldogs stay in the spread formation. 2 receivers each way. Kearney to the right of the quarterback. Harmon awaiting that snap. He's got it. Fakes the handoff. Harmon keeps it off the right side. Skips it into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
That play set up by a phenomenal pass from Grant Harmon, 45 yards right up the middle of the field to Gerard Bowie. Set him up in pretty darn good field position. 35-0 would be the score after this. Quick strike to Teddy Marshall from 3 yards out.
From the 3-yard line of Musselman, there is the snap. Harmon, fade pattern, back near corner of the end zone. Grab made by Teddy Marshall as he went right up over top of the defensive back and made that grab and came down inbounds. That's just a great athletic play by Teddy Marshall.
And Cello Teneval would get the 6th touchdown of the half for the Martinsburg Bulldogs, giving them the 42-0 lead going into the half.
Banks has the shotgun snap, looks near side, now far side, wide receiver screen, catch made by Cello Teneval. Teneval to the sideline, spins off of a tackle, back to his right, and gets into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Looked like they had him bottled up, but he would not be denied.
Again, 42-0, your halftime score from Coburn Field, the Martinsburg Bulldogs over the Musselman Appleman. We're going to take a 1-minute break. When we come back, we'll take a look at how scores went yesterday as the rest of the Mountain State and the Eastern Panhandle played all their games last night. I want to take a look at some college action that has finalized today. Don't get a chance to do that on Friday nights, but tonight we have college football action. We'll be back with more of the Halftime Scoreboard Show. This is West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
It's the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Martinsburg. That means great savings like the all-new 2019 Ram truck as low as $32,900. How about a 2019 Jeep Cherokee at 0% APR plus $1,500 cash back? Get a 2018 Pacifica for only $24,987. How about a 2018 Jeep Compass for a low $229 a month, or a 2018 Dodge Charger as low as $299 per month? Get a 2018 Dodge Grand Caravan at only $299 per month. It's all at the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Kelly Island Road, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Stock numbers 19049, 19001, and 19319. All payments based on approved credit, taxes, tags, and processing fees extra. See dealer for details.
And we welcome you back into the Halftime Scoreboard Show. Matt Crawford in the Talk Radio WRNR studios. We also appreciate if you're tuning in on TV 10 or WRNR TV on the WRNR TV YouTube app. All right, let's take a look at some other scores from yesterday, as this is the only game going on around the Mountain State on Saturday. Let's start in the Eastern Panhandle, where Spring Mills gets the upset win, a phenomenal win for the Cardinals, who needed to win this game. It was a code red the last 2 weeks. They get the big win, 32-9 over North Hagerstown. Spring Mills improves to 4-5. North Hagerstown 5-4 now after that loss. South Hagerstown was in Shenandoah Junction taking on the Jefferson Cougars. Jefferson falls 40-13. They are now 1-8. South Hagerstown improves to 7-2. Hampshire and Washington faced off in Charlestown. Washington 0-9. They will be 0-9 going into that Jefferson County battle next week when they face off against the Jefferson Cougars. 44-14 the final. Hampshire gets the win. Hampshire, their second win on the season. And Hedgesville, they had a bye going into their final week of action. Spring Mills next week. That'll be a home game for the Hedgesville Eagles. We'll have that game right here on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10. Mike Jacobs and myself, the call for that one. All right, let's take a look at what else went on around AAA and some AA games of interest in the Mountain State. Number 1, Spring Valley. They were taking on Point Pleasant, who's number 6 in AA. Point Pleasant had a 27-14 lead going into the half. Would not stand. Spring Valley 58-34 the final score there. Really put it on there in the second half. Rowan County, AA, taking on Ripley in AAA. Ripley, the number 5 team in AAA, 41-6. The final there. Number 5 Capital over Riverside, 41-0. 6-9 matchup, Huntington and Parkersburg, 27-21. Huntington getting the win in that one. Parkersburg South over Wheeling Park. That was the 6-8 matchup. Wheeling Park shut out 30-0. First time they've been shut out since 2010. Weir AA over Brook, 20-6. Weir the number 9 team in AA. John Marshall over Warren Local out of Ohio, 39-0 the final there. In the Mohawk Bowl, it was Morgantown all over University, 55-10. Both those teams are now 5-5. Should be interesting now that both their seasons are done, where they're going to end up in the playoff race. University was number 13 going into this week. George Washington and Woodrow Wilson. Tight game there. Woodrow Wilson gets the win, 38-35. George Washington now going to need to win the last week of the season if they want to get into the playoffs. They are now 4-5. Greenbrier East, 53-14 over Princeton. Buchanan Upshur, 21-3 over Preston. That's a tough game for Buchanan Upshur. Preston, not exactly a phenomenal team this year. South Charleston over St. Albans, 66-6. And that rounds out AAA scores. Number 1 Fairmont Senior was off yesterday, so the number 1 team in AA did not play. It also looks like Berkeley Springs was off as well. All right, let's take a look at some college action. We don't get to do this often because usually we're doing it on Friday nights, But we do have some finals, and WVU helped us out with that earlier in the week. They got the win Thursday night at home against Baylor, a phenomenal crowd out in Morgantown. A 31-point second quarter, and Will Greer had himself a day. 353 yards, 17 for 27, 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards of offense in that first half for Will Greer. And in Shepherdstown today, big win for the Shepherd University Rams, 58-35 at home over West Virginia Wesleyan. Good day for former Bulldog Tyson Bagent. He set the Shepherd University passing record, 6 touchdowns, make that 7 touchdowns in one single game. Here's Tyson Bagent after the game on that record.
I kind of got the gist when everybody started looking at me and clapping. You know, it's definitely a surreal moment that, you know, something that I dreamed of, you know, being able to come here, being able to, for my family, to be able to see things like that, you know, it just means a lot.
You can tell a rowdy crowd down there in Shepherdstown earlier today. Here's head coach Ernie McCook on the victory.
Anytime you get a win at home, and it's awesome. You know, the crowd that was here was energized. They were into it. Our players answered the bell, had great focus early, and was able to do some really nice things. So I was really happy.
Tight end DJ Corners found the end zone 3 times. Really a breakout game for him. Shepherd improves to 6-2. They will be at Charleston next Saturday. All right, we got to take one more break. Then we'll send you back out to Coburn Field for the second half of action. Back to Matt, Vic, and Jason at the field. This was your halftime scoreboard show. I'm Matt Crawford, and this is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
You need to keep your vehicle in good working order, but car and truck repairs can be very costly. Bears Repair in Martinsburg performs all kinds of auto repairs at prices most often well below their competition. Bears Repair offers tune-ups, oil change and lubrication, small and large engine and transmission repair, wheel balancing, front-end alignment, exhaust system replacement, air conditioning checks, auto inspections, and new tires. Good day, sir. All right, just tell me when and we'll just start talking.
25.
Timing been pretty decent?
Yeah, 40. You're talking 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start talking.
We welcome you back once again to Coburn Field. Matt Crawford back at the studio with our halftime scoreboard show. Now we work our way back here to the field as we bring you some stats from the first half and get you into our second half of action. All Martinsburg right now as they lead the Musselman Applemen by a score of 42-0. Along with Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller, Jason Colrick down on the sideline. Chip Rittenhouse, our TV 10 cameraman. Continuing now with the first half stats, a service of Bears Repair at 904 Winchester Avenue in Martinsburg. For all of your automotive repair needs, call the certified mechanics at Bears Repair. Phone 304-262-0208. Vic, do you want to start with that Bulldog defense and what they've done to shut down Musselman, or start with that Bulldog offense and what they've done to put 42 points up?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the defense because I think the defense adjusted very, very quickly. It looked like Musselman had some things going there, and they knew what they wanted to do, and then Martinsburg all of a sudden just shut it down. And part of that had to do with the fact that the passing game is just not effective right now. Martinsburg is just covering receivers, and they're not able to get people open. They don't have enough time, so they have to settle on running the football as much as they can.
All right, here we go. Musselman in the first half, 6 offensive possessions, 2 punts, 2 turnovers, 1 turnover on downs, and they took the football into the locker room at the half. They had 1 first down, getting a 2-yard run on a 4th down and 1 in their best possession of the first half that went 8 plays before they turned it over, failing to convert on a 4th and 1. They had 4 first half turnovers, 2 offensively with an interception and then a fumble, and then, of course, Martinsburg recovered 2 bouncing and or on onside kicks that gave the Bulldogs the football back as well. For Musselman in the first half, penalty-wise, 4 times for 31 yards. They were 0 of 6 on third down conversions and 1 of 2 on fourth down conversions. They ran 21 plays, minus 1 yard, 0 rushing yards, and minus 1 passing yard. Trey Beard, the starting quarterback, 2 of 4 passing for minus 1 yard. He completed one for minus 4 yards to Blake Hartman, and then completed one for a 3-yard gain to Sebastian Oldham. Meanwhile, 5 carries for minus 11 yards for Beard, who has been sacked once in this first half. 5 carries for 6 yards, leading the ground game. That's Sebastian Oldham. A carry for 2 yards for Ethan Walker. And Blake Hartman, 5 carries for 9 yards. Their leading rusher and their leading receiver. And so far, we've got Hartman accountable for only about 3 total yards of offense. It's been a tough one for him.
Yes, it has. And, one of the things when you see that, when you find that this guy who is the offensive juggernaut for this football team is shut down, that really sends a bolt through everybody else in that team, and say, hey, this guy does everything for us and he hasn't done anything. So it has an effect on everybody else on the team.
Let's take a look at that Bulldog offense. They had 8 possessions in the first half. They turned it over once on a fumble right at the goal line. They punted the football on their very opening possession, and they turned it over. Well, I should say, let's go back to that punt, because they lined up to punt. Remember, the snap was a little bad, and it was Trey Sign picking up 4 yards but being tackled short of what they needed for the first. So really, it's a turnover on downs, and then 6 Bulldog touchdowns, 14 first downs, and the Bulldogs 5 of 7 on third down, 1 of 2 on fourth down. The Bulldogs ran 33 plays for 307 yards, 202 on the ground, 105 through the air. Cello Teneval, 4 catches, 41 yards in a score. Gerard Bowie, 2 grabs, 17 yards in a score. Bowie also had a carry for 38 and 2 catches, 47 yards and a touchdown for Teddy Marshall. Throwing the football, Grant Harmon 3 of 5 for 56 yards, and Elijah Banks 5 of 7 for 49 yards. Banks throwing for a couple of touchdowns, Harmon throwing for 1 touchdown, and Harmon also with a rushing touchdown. Banks with a rushing touchdown, and Naeem Kearney added a rushing touchdown as well. Kearney with 7 carries for 37 yards, 3 carries, 60 yards for Trey Sign, and 7 carries, 66 yards for Grant Harmon. That is a look at the numbers from the first half, and we're just about ready to get our second half underway. Halftime activities, a service of Bill Stubblefield. Vote for Bill Stubblefield, your independent voice for the Berkeley County Council. Musselman to get the football. Second half getting started. Football will be placed, it looks like, directly on the ground along the near side hash mark by Chris Catlett. Blake Hartman back deep around the 20-yard line looking to return this one. The remaining 10 players for Musselman all within 10 yards of where the football will be kicked from, as Catlett will kick from right to left. 42-0, that Bulldog advantage. There is the whistle, and Catlett will approach. Our second half is now underway. There is the kick, and it's a bouncer along the near side hash mark. Hartman going to pick it up at the 22-yard line, to the 25, middle of the field, to the 30. Met and brought down at the 35. Make it the 36 as he falls forward. Trey Sign in there with the initial contact, and it looks to be a number 8 out there.
Jamil Robinson.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got to look that one up. Robinson, a 6-foot junior on that tackle. So let's see if Musselman can begin to establish a little something here, starting at their own 36 to get this second half underway. On first down, they line up in a similar formation to the beginning of the game. 3 receivers bunched to the left. Now Oldham goes in motion out there. He'll be a receiver as well, as Trey Beard takes the snap, wants to run left, and his feet taken out from underneath of him very quickly. I believe that was Bednarski, who was being blocked to the ground, who got a hand out there and tripped him.
He certainly did.
So that tackle will come after a gain of 2. He was able to fall forward out to the 38. Looked like a more promising opportunity, though.
Again, that's because of the quickness of the Martinsburg defense getting there.
Again, trip receivers very tightly bunched to the left. Single receiver near side. Beard rolling near side, wants to throw. Now in trouble. Able to elude one tackler, and now throwing along the near side, just threw it right down into the ground. Had a receiver nearby. That was Ethan Wilson, the tight end, but that pass went right down into the ground. We do have a flag down as our head referee, I think, was ready to call intentional grounding, but our back judge is going to come in and tell him to wave that one off. And that's the right call.
Yes, it is. There's a good call by the official, and then there was a good call recovery by the other official, the back judge, to let him know that there wasn't a player in that area.
Yeah, Beard running for his life in that situation. Now 2 of 5 passing, and not a good situation. Another 3rd and long for the Applemen. 0 of 6 on 3rd downs so far. Wide receiver coming near side is Kagan Teets, a 6-foot sophomore. They're going to line up, it looks like, with the 3 backs in the I formation to the right side of the quarterback with Beard in the shotgun. But now a timeout taken. Head coach Brian Thomas seeing that they could not get lined up properly, and the Applemen burn a timeout. 11:13 to play in quarter number 3, a 30-second break, and then back to Coburn Field with Martinsburg leading 42-0. Musselman to the football, coming out of their 30-second timeout, facing a 3rd down and 8. 2 tight slots. Now Oldham, one of those slots goes into motion into the backfield, lining up in a pistol behind Beard. Man in motion near side, that's Hartman. There is the fake handoff, and then the quick pass near side. It's caught by Wilson. Penalty marker down. We'll have a hold as Ethan Wilson, the tight end, making the catch along this right side, working down the field, but a penalty marker down as we'll have a hold back at the 42-yard line.
Pretty obvious there, right in front of us here. 2 officials threw flags on that one. That was just a tough play, and you know, you get open field blocking is very, very difficult. This is something that you work on in practice, you work on, but it's hard to simulate it when you have guys as quick as they have in the secondary of Martinsburg trying to maintain that block.
So the gain is good for 4, and then the penalty gets marked off from there, so it goes back to the 32-yard line. And we'll bring up 3rd down once again, but it becomes 3rd and about 14.
3rd down, 15.
11:05 to play, 3rd quarter, 42-0 Martinsburg. This Bulldog defense not giving up much, 6 yards so far. So Musselman has the game total now up to 5 yards of offense. On 3rd down and 14. Trey Beard awaits the snap, has it back to his left side. He hands it off. That's Oldham who turns and hands it off to Hartman. Hartman went down at the 30-yard line, but got right back up and ran and picks up an additional 3 yards, make it 4, and now a very late penalty marker comes in at the end of the play. I'm not sure I understand that one. Let's check with Jason down on the sideline, see if he had any better angle as to why they didn't mark Hartman down. Personal foul Martinsburg at the end of the play. Jason.
It didn't look like he actually went down from the angle I'm sitting at, and I was looking into the pile. It didn't look like he actually went down, and he was able to maintain his balance.
Wow, nice job by Hartman. From up here, he looked like he was laying practically flat. Must have been able to get a hand down and able to pick up, it looks like, about 3 yards. And then they pick up the additional 15 on the penalty. And for Martinsburg, that will now be the 4th penalty and now 40 penalty yards. What it does is gives Musselman their 2nd first down of this ball game. From the midfield stripe on 1st down, handoff going to the tailback, pushing straight ahead, power running. Looks like Walker back out there as the tailback. Ethan Walker, the 170-pound senior, goes 6 foot tall. He's going to have a gain of about 3. He had 1 carry in that first half where he picked up 2. It will bring up 2nd down and 7. 6th play of this first offensive possession of the second half for Musselman. Out of the gun, Beard with the 3 men in that stick eye to his left side. Beard now walks up to the line, barks out some extra instructions. Awaits that shotgun snap. Here it comes. It's a little wide. He eventually is able to hand it off to the tailback. That's Hartman, power running forward off this right side. He'll get progress down to the 45, and that's a hard-fought 2 yards. Great job again by the Bulldogs to really bottle that one up. Pearson off the bottom of the pile. Sign in there as well. Nice job by the linebackers filling the hole when it brings up 3rd down and 5.
Well, one good thing for Musselman is the fact that they are controlling the football right now. They got time running off the clock. They're picking up first downs with 8, obviously, of the big penalty there, but this is the big down coming up.
On 3rd and 5, Walker goes in motion out of the backfield. He'll line up as a wide out to the left. 3 receivers tightly bunched near side. Beard looked to that far side, now wants to run. Gets in behind that offensive line and moves forward down close to the 40. They'll mark him at the 41, and he picks up 4, and it brings up 4th and 1. You got to imagine they'll go for it here based on what we saw back in that first half.
Well, basically at this point now they have no choice. They have to go for most all of their 4th down situations.
From that Bulldog 41 on a 4th down and 1 after going 1 of 2 on 4th downs in that first half. Beard looks over the defense. 3 backs lined up in that stick eye to his right. He hands it off to Hartman. Hartman met at the line, driven down. He didn't get there. Grant Harmon, the free safety, came up to hit him down low. Got some help from Cullinan and others.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, he probably lost a yard on that play. Good defense by Martinsburg. 8 minutes, 27 seconds go here in the 3rd quarter. Musselman did something that they needed to do, was maintain the football and try to run to get the ball down the field a little bit better, get themselves a little bit field position. But they had to give it up on downs. 42-0 is our score.
So the Bulldogs take over from their own 41. First possession of the second half, and Grant Harmon at quarterback. Has Naeem Kearney to his left side, 2 receivers each way. There's the snap. Harmon wants to throw. Deep along the near side has a wide open Gerard Bowie's got it at the 25, down the near sideline to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. 59 yards on the scoring strike.
It's amazing because nobody, and I say no one, folks, no one guarded him. He ran right by the cornerback out here, and he was looking into the backfield. And he simply ran past him. He wasn't within 25 yards of him when he scored.
Well, Grant Harmon had thrown for 56 yards in the first half. He picks up 59 more here. 4 of 6 passing unofficially, 115 yards, and now a pair of touchdown passes on the night. Chris Catlett for the extra point. Snap, placement, kick. It's up. It's through. 8 minutes and 16 seconds to play in quarter number 3. A 60-second break with Martinsburg in front, 49-0.
When you do the same thing for 135 years, you learn to do it well. For 135 years, we've been helping families through the hardest times of their lives. That's because we're a family as well. When your family loses a loved one, we're here to help. We're Brown Funeral Home in Martinsburg, Inwood, and Charlestown, Ranson. We're here when you need us.
Chris Catlett puts it on the tee this time at the 40-yard line to our right, directly at the little X on the 40, right in the center of the field. Catlett will approach. Looks like he's going to kick it deep. High end-over-end kick. Hartman's coming up, taking it on the run at the 15, to the 20 and the 25. Breaks a tackle to the 30, out to the 35, tripped up and taken down at the 40-yard line, and a penalty marker down along the near sideline. We'll have to wait and see what that will be.
That's going to be a holding against Musselman.
Well, the drive for Martinsburg, one play, 59 yards, took them 11 seconds, and the Bulldogs add to the lead as Grant Harmon hit Gerard Bowie on the 59-yard scoring strike. Martinsburg has now had three one-play scoring drives and another two-play scoring drive, a four-play scoring drive, a five-play scoring drive. Their longest one has been a seven-play scoring drive. They have been able to score quickly. Football goes back to the 27, minus the 10 yards on the hold. Musselman now up to 6 penalties, 51 yards unofficially.
Well, but due to the fact that Martinsburg has so many weapons, they can hit you so quickly.
Yep. Out of the shotgun, Trey Beard will await the snap. He's got a back. That's Odom to his left side. Again, three receivers very tightly bunched to the near side. They fake the handoff to Odom, give it to Hartman, trying the end around on the left side. Finds a little cutback to his right. Breaks through a tackle at the 30 near side, 35 and 40 to the midfield stripe, where Teddy Marshall will eventually take him down right along the near sideline in Bulldog territory at the 45-yard line. Best offensive play of the night for Musselman.
Very good. Good job of running the football and finding an open field to run. Coming out of the game, Bernardsky's coming out limping here on the far side.
How about 28 yards on that carry? Hartman now up to 42 yards on first down from the Bulldog 45-yard line. Beard made a motion like he was waiting for the snap to see if the Bulldogs would jump. Now looks to that far sideline and has the play call. Pistol formation with Odom behind him. He awaits that shotgun snap. Could have been a procedure penalty. No, flag down, and the pass along the near side, overshooting Kagan Teets, the intended target, and he's the one that looked like he moved early.
Yes. I've seen that several times here tonight. I've seen that movement early before the snap. It's not anticipation. It's just the snap is a little bit late because the whole line basically moved on that one.
Well, Martinsburg defensive coordinator Buddy Hessen all over that one, calling for a penalty marker. Did not get it. 2nd and 10 now from the Bulldog 45. Beard again with those three backs lined up beside of him to his left. Takes the snap, pitches it to Hartman. Hartman looking for running room to his left. Will pick up a yard, maybe two, as he's taken down inside the 45 at the 44-yard line. Boite helping out to make that tackle. It's still a gain of just one and will bring up a 3rd down and 9.
Well, one of the good things on that particular play, a couple of Martinsburg players took on blocks, which then stripped the ball carrier being alone by himself.
On 3rd and long, Beard will bring a man in motion. That's Odom into the backfield. Two receivers each way. Now a man in motion. That's Hartman. They fake the handoff, and Beard keeps it, coming here to the near side with blockers in front. Going to get to the 30, slips the tackle there to the 25-yard line where he's taken down by the Bulldogs' Teddy Marshall, and a very late penalty marker coming in. And we're going to have a personal foul. Martinsburg, I'm not sure what was seen there. I didn't see anything at the end of that play, and yet they're going to add the yardage.
Well, I think this official was trying to control the football game, but that was a football play. That was part of momentum.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all. Well, the gain goes for 19 yards. And then the penalty is going to take it from the 25 down to about the 12-yard line, it looks like. So 5 penalties, about 52 yards now whistled against Martinsburg, and it's on 1st and 10 from that Bulldog 13-yard line. And it's the handoff, and the running back, no place to go, trying to move to his left. That's Sebastian Odom, and he's quickly grabbed and taken down. They'll give him one down to the 12, it looks like. 6th play of this drive coming, 2nd down and 9 after that 1-yard gain. Odom's first carry of this second half. He's got 6 carries now for 7 yards. On 2nd and long, 3 receivers tightly bunched left. The tight end along the near side, Ethan Wilson tightly bunched but standing up. Odom out of the backfield in motion to the near side. Empty backfield now for Beard. He's going to keep it running left. Gets by Brinegar but can't get by the next couple as the tackle is made. Pearson there on the bottom of the pile. That stop comes at the 10 after a pickup of 2.
Got some help from Harmon also on that play. 5 minutes, 35 seconds here in the third quarter. One score thus far in the quarter. It's 49-0 Martinsburg. And this is what I'm sure Musselman dreamed of themselves doing here at the beginning of the ball game, is to take the ball and control the ball, which they weren't able to do. Of course, 49-0, it's a little bit different attitude out there right now.
Beard out of the shotgun, awaiting that snap. It's an empty backfield as he brings Hartman in motion from left to right. That'll put 3 receivers to this near side. Control roll to the near side. Beard now wants to throw and has the pass batted down as A.J. Brenniger able to get a hand on it, as Beard was actually going to turn and throw back across the field. The incompletion will bring up a 4th down and 7.
I'll tell you what, Matt, I think he was pretty lucky. He got knocked down because I think that ball was going to be intercepted. There was a player perching to intercept that pass, and it was about 90 yards in front of him.
On 4th down and 7 from the Bulldog 10-yard line. Beard takes the shotgun snap, fakes the handoff, then fakes the second handoff, gets to Odom in the flat on the left side, and he gets forced out of bounds after a gain of maybe a yard. Let's wait and see. Nope, it's actually a loss of a yard back to the 11. So again, they do that fake on the 2 handoffs like the scissors play, and then go back to the original man, Odom, that he faked the handoff to. Martinsburg had none of it.
Well, it's just another good job of staying, what we call staying at home. In other words, do your job, your assignment. Don't get faked out by the ball fake or motion by players. Do your assignment.
Second possession, turnover on downs in this second half for Musselman. 4:57 to play in quarter number 3. Bulldog football, 1st down and 10 from their own 11. Their deepest field position so far. Banks out there at quarterback, hands it off, and Naeem Kearney hitting the backfield and taken down for a loss on the play. One of the big guys up front able to get in there and make that stop. That looks like a 6-7, and that'll be Adam Taylor who will be responsible for the stop. Mark it back at the 9, and that's -2. 2nd and 12 coming for the Bulldogs. Kearney now at 35 yards on 7 carries. Banks to throw over the middle on that post pattern, trying to get it to Cello Teneval. Shoots it past him, incomplete. Justin Lewis on the coverage defensively.
Well, one of the things that when we see a quarterback who has the arm that he has to throw the football, that bullet that he throws, he can't lead guys. They can't catch up to that bullet that he's throwing. He's got to throw it right at them.
3rd down and 12 now coming for the Dogs. They were 5 of 7 on 3rd down conversions in that first half, but facing a 3rd and 12 here. Banks out of the gun, 2 receivers each way. He's got the snap, sets up to throw, dumps it off in the flat on the near side, caught by Naeem Kearney. Kearney getting to the 20-yard line. Boy, he's quick. Out to the 25 and the 30. Gets a block to the 35 down the near sideline into Musselman territory. Eventually pushed out of bounds inside the 40. They'll mark it at the 39.
Wow. That looked like a play that was going to develop maybe enough to get the first down, possibly. And he just turned on the afterburners.
52 yards on that pass completion to give the Bulldogs the first down. Wow. Jason, how fast is he from your angle?
I don't know. He's so fast I didn't even see him go past me. It was ridiculous. He got a couple of nice blocks from wide receivers on that play as well, though.
Yes, he did. From the 39 of Musselman on first down, wide receiver screen, caught by the slot receiver to the right, Gerard Bowie down the far side, hash marks. He is very quickly inside the 30 and taken down at about the 27.
And again, that's what happens a lot of times. You get hit with that particular play, just a short stop pattern right there, and the guy's going to run because snapping the ball, the defensive backs are backing up, so giving him more room to run.
5th play of the possession coming, a 1st down and 10 for the Bulldogs, as they have now gained 17 first downs on the night. Gerard Bowie being sent to the sideline, apparently something to do with equipment. Unless his helmet came off at the end of the play that I didn't catch from our vantage point. Either way, Teddy Marshall comes into the lineup The Bulldogs with 4 receivers out there. 3 will line up to the short side right with the ball on the far side hash mark. Banks taking the shotgun snap, looking deep along the near side for Cello Teneval in the end zone. He reaches up and cannot make the play. Oh, and a late penalty marker down. It'll go against Trevin Carter. And while this will benefit Martinsburg, I don't like that call either.
I think that's a terrible call.
I mean, what did the defensive back do?
The defensive back was in the best position to make that catch. Maybe Jason saw it a little different from us.
Yeah, let's check in again with Jason.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. I'm going to be honest with you. As the ball was in the air, the defensive guy hadn't turned his head yet, but at the last second he did turn his head, but he was driving his helmet into Cello's chest. But hey, I've always thought if you do get your head around, then it's not pass interference.
Well, it is pass interference on this play as the football will get moved down to the 14-yard line, so roughly 13 yards on that penalty as it looks like a half the distance to the goal, and that'll be 7 penalties now for about 64 yards whistled on the Appleman. So Martinsburg ready to scrimmage on a first down and 10. From the 13, Banks takes the high snap, gives it off to Kearney. Kearney to his left, gets around a nice block by Bednarski inside the 10 and down to the 9-yard line. So from the 14, that gain's actually good for about 5 yards. And now we're going to get a timeout that is taken by Musselman. So timeout Appleman, and I would have that as the second one that they have burned, and head coach Brian Thomas has come all the way to the near sideline to talk with our head referee. Not sure what it is that he saw from that far sideline, but he is pointing at the Martinsburg huddle and really animately talking with our head referee, who is escorting him back over to his own huddle at the 20.
This is not good for the game. First of all, he should not have spoken to him. He should have just told him, off the field, and I will talk to you on the sideline if you want to go to the sideline, or you get a 15-yard penalty. This is not good because, again, this is right in front of the players. It is illegal for the coach to come out on the field anyway to make a request or whatever he's trying to get across to the official. Let him come to the sideline, and you can ream him out, whatever you want to do, but not on the field. I mean, he came over to the hash mark.
On the near side.
Near side, yeah. Not good.
Well, that's conversation wrapping up as the teams make their way back out onto the field. 3:40 to play in the third. All Martinsburg 49-0 as the Bulldogs look to finish what will be their 9th unbeaten season. It will be the 4th time that they have, make it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times that they have gone 10-0. Well, the Bulldogs able to get the football to Naeem Kearney off this left side, and he will turn upfield at the numbers and sprint into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
Well, they had Kearney back at about the 14-yard line and spun him around. Looked like he was going down, but with his great balance, able to keep his feet. And I think most of the players then relaxed because they thought he was going down. Maintained his composure there and just tried it right on in the end zone.
Well, fitting he gets the touchdown after the 52-yard catch and run on the screen pass from deep in Bulldog territory that really helped to set him up on this drive. Snap is back, and the placement and kick, and Catlett puts it up and through. 3 minutes, 31 seconds remaining here in quarter number 3. All Martinsburg out in front, 56-0.
At Valley College, we know that going to school is about more than a diploma. It's about training to get a career you love. Get the skills you need to get ahead in a flexible format, on campus or online, that fits your lifestyle, with programs designed to meet the needs of today's employers. And you'll never feel like a number at Valley College, because we provide the level of attention you need for success. Valley College. Call now or reach us at learnatvalley.com.
Well, the scoring drive for Martinsburg, we'll give it to you after the ensuing kick. That drive summary brought to you by 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. Catlett approaches, the ball on the tee at the 42 our right. Line drive end over end kick, going to bounce at about the 10 and be taken inside the 5 by Hartman. He'll turn back upfield, getting to that 10-yard line, and then get spun around and taken down. Wow. I thought for a minute he might let that one go and see if it went all the way into the end zone, but inside that 5, he decided to grab it and barely got back out to the 10-yard line. Drive summary for the Bulldogs, how about 6 plays, 89 yards, only took a minute and 26 seconds, 9 yards on the touchdown run for Naeem Kearney, his second rushing touchdown of the night, giving him 17 on the season. So from the 9, as he didn't quite get to that 10, Musselman football with 3:25 to play here in quarter number 3. It'll be a continual running clock once we get into the fourth quarter. Trey Beard out of the gun, 3 receivers out to the left, a couple here to the right. Now Odom goes in motion into the backfield, lines up in that pistol formation. They fake the handoff, and Beard keeps it coming near side, getting out across the 20 and out to the 24-yard line. Trey Sign runs him down from behind. Grant Harmon, the free safety, in on that tackle as well. Nice run by Beard.
Yes, it was. Good run. I tell you, offensively, they're trying to, again, go back to what they came here to do and establish that run game and mix in the pass. And here in the second half, they've done a pretty good job. But there again, you know, when you're down 42 points or you're up 42 points, it does make a difference.
5 first downs, and now in this ball game after that's a gain of 15. On 1st and 10 from the 24. Beard going to keep it again, this time running left, and he'll get snowed under right at the line of scrimmage. Just no place to go, a little slow developing on that play. Sign a linebacker, Harmon a free safety, and down underneath A.J. Brenniger, one of the defensive linemen.
Yeah, not much on that play. 2:30 to go here in the third quarter. 56-0 Martinsburg, and basically is obviously by the score has also dominated this football game.
The Bulldogs ready to finish an undefeated season and know that they'll finish either 1 or 2. Right now, Spring Valley up there at number 1, Martinsburg at number 2. Here's a pitch in the backfield, and it's going to be a pass. Hartman deep along the near side, and it's bobbled, and was it intercepted?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Teddy Marshall tipping that football a couple of different times before eventually diving and corralling it before hitting the ground. Kagan Teets was the intended target, but Teddy Marshall gets the INT, his 4th of the season.
Well, I tell you what, that was just a great play. If you have a chance to look at that, man, that was just a great defensive play.
Well, you'll have a chance to look at it again. We'll rebroadcast this game on TV 10 coming up on Wednesday night. I'm going to have that as turnover number 5 now for Musselman. 3 offensive turnovers and a couple of special teams turnovers as the Bulldogs have corralled a couple of onside kicks. So from their own 42, Martinsburg football on a 1st and 10. Grant Harmon back at quarterback. We'll have Naeem Kearney to his left side. 3 receivers out to the wide side right, and now Martinsburg head coach David Walker going to call for a timeout. He turns and looks back at a couple of his assistants. Look like he's a little frustrated that they maybe didn't get the play call in, whatever it may be. We'll take the timeout and keep it right here to remind you our game broadcast brought to you by Miller Honda, Appalachian Heating and Air, WVU Medicine Berkeley and Jefferson Medical Centers, Bechtel Jewelers, Berkeley County Health Department, the Mirius Group, and Ameriprise Financial Advisors John Everson and Phil McCoy, Kelly Allstate Insurance Agency, Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and Valley College. Thanks to them and each of our individual special segment sponsors for making it possible to bring you high school football featuring the Martinsburg Bulldogs all season long.
Well, you know, Matt, one of the problems I think Martinsburg has, and all the teams have, are the officials. Officials are really speeding the game up. This is the 9th game for Musselman, 10th game for Martinsburg. These guys ought to be used to that. I mean, in other words, they're spotting the ball. Let's get ready to play. Let's move the game along.
Well, there is the snap, and Harmon wants to throw near side. Catch made. Cello Tenenbaugh ducks underneath of a would-be tackle at the midfield stripe as Trevin Carter came in to try to wrap him up, and Tenenbaugh stays in bounds along the near side down to the Musselman 42. That gain going to be good for 16 yards on the pass completion. Harmon to Teneval. From the 42 now in Musselman territory. First down and 10. I've got 19 Bulldog first downs so far tonight. They average 21 a game. Harmon awaiting the shotgun snap, hands it off. Naeem Kearney, right up the middle of the field, breaks the tackle at the 30 down the near side hash mark. No one's going to catch him into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. I didn't get the lineman who pulled on that play, but he's the one. The pulling lineman opened that hole that allowed Kearney the short cut back to his left, and then he outran everybody.
Yeah, just a simple trap play. The guard on this left side pulled to the right and just simply opened the hole up. He got a hand on his shoulder, but he ran right through that. With a minute 32 to go here in the third quarter, it's now a 62-0 ball game, and I think an awful lot of people probably didn't expect the score to be this bad with this Musselman team.
There is the snap back, and Catlett for the extra point. Line drives it up and through, and we still have 1:32 to play in quarter number 3. Back in 60 with Martinsburg out in front now, 63-0.
I got into this because I believe the system is broken and needs to be fixed. Let me tell you why I'm the person to fix it. I've been practicing in courts throughout the state of West Virginia for over 30 years. I know where the courtroom is, and I know what to do when I get there. I also know what to do when I get here. I know what it's like to represent a widow and hold her hand and tell her everything's going to be okay. I also know what it's like to represent a small business or even a larger business, trying to meet payroll or just trying to get by. All they all want is fairness. They want to know that when they come to the court, the law and the facts are going to be applied to them, whether they're the governor or a janitor. I'm Bill Schwartz. I'm asking for your vote. Please help me fix this.
Well, Chris Catlett approaches, gets away the ensuing kickoff. That's going to be Blake Hartman at the 10, coming to the middle of the field across the 20 and the 25 to the 30-yard line. Met and brought down there. Nice special teams tackle for the Bulldogs. Trenton Sherman, who helped to wrap him up and make the stop just beyond the 35 at the 37. Drive summary, a service of 61st District Delegate Jason Barrett. Trusted leadership, real solutions. For the Bulldogs, a two-play 58-yard scoring drive in 36 seconds. And Naeem Kearney with a 42-yard touchdown run has his second of the second half and his third rushing touchdown of the game. 1:24 to play, quarter number 3. First and 10 Musselman from their own 37. Beard has the snap, slings it out far side. Hartman the catch, slips through a couple of tackles and falls forward out close to the 40. Trey Sign able to grab that one leg and would not let go, helping to make the stop after a gain of 2, close to 3. Beard now 5 of 9 passing. If you add those 2 yards, that's 4 total passing yards. They've not been able to get anything going, as the passing game's mostly been short ones like that.
Yeah, I think that was their idea coming into the football game, and has not been that successful for them.
On second down and 8, Hartman in motion to the near side. There is the snap back. Beard's going to keep it coming. Near side bounces it, now gives the lateral. Hartman to the near sideline. Penalty marker down as he's taken down at the 50, and we'll have a hold again on this near sideline.
Same player. That's a second holding in a row he's had. Same player. I'm not going to give his number out, but that was pretty obvious there, right in front of the Martinsburg bench, right in front of the official right there.
Well, it comes at the 7-yard mark into that carry, and then they will mark it back from there. So now from the 37-yard line, it will bring up second down and roughly 10 yards to go for a first.
Down to 25 seconds here in the third quarter.
Musselman now 8 penalties for 74 yards. Oldham sets up in a pistol formation behind Beard, barking out some instructions to the offensive line. The Bulldogs showed blitz and now back out of it. There is the snap and the handoff. Sebastian Oldham grabbed by Terrell Good, who would not let go, making the stop at the 40-yard line. And they'll give him credit out to the 41. That'll be a gain of 4 yards And that will be the final play of quarter number 3. Back with the fourth quarter of action from here at Coburn Field as the Bulldogs look to wrap up an undefeated regular season for a third straight year. They lead Musselman 63-0.
I didn't know if you saw that or not. Somebody replied, I guess maybe back to this.
If you're not progressing in healthcare, you're falling behind.
W Medicine has planted itself here, and they're the first university that I've found who wants to take ownership of this population of Western Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, and the good people of West Virginia. And it's really refreshing to see.
I was able to do things that the patients were going away for, which is good for the patients, and it's good for us because we have more resources.
Certainly has helped take us to another level.
Well, here we go as quarter number 4 gets underway. It's an end-around give to Hartman, who will break a couple of tackles, getting to the far sideline, going out of bounds into the Musselman bench, just short of the 45. Mark him at the 44. A lot of running for what proves to be a gain of about 4 yards. That is now 2 of 11 on third down conversions for Musselman, and no doubt they'll go for it as they face a fourth down and still about 3.
You know, you really have to think about this. You're down 63-0. You have the ball in your own territory. This is tough. You got to hope you get this first down, because if not, you're looking at a short field for Martinsburg.
They're 1 of 4 on third down conversions. Beard trying to get the Bulldogs to jump. Trey Good started but held his ground. Now Odom in motion into the backfield. Pistol formation. There is the snap, and it's a low snap. It rolls back. Picked up by Odom. Hit in the backfield. Breaks the tackle. And then gets spun down for a loss on the play. They'll mark his progress back at about the 39-yard line. That's -5.
Well, I'm not sure what was there, whether they were trying to draw him offside or whatever. If you were going to try and draw him offside and it didn't work, either you take a timeout or you go ahead and take the 5-yard penalty, one or the other. And it seemed like they were in between one of the other options that they had. The ball was snapped, quarterback wasn't ready, got a fumble, and you lose the football. Now you give the ball to Martinsburg on the 39-yard line. And now you have a situation with 10 minutes on a running clock. Then the clock will run the rest of the ball game, other than an injury or something like that. But you have now Martinsburg an opportunity to score again.
From the 39 of Musselman, Bulldog football, they've had 3 second-half possessions. They've scored on all 3. Elijah Banks out there to quarterback. He'll have a back. Naeem Kearney to his right side. Nope, that's Kevon Warren now out there. Handoff to Warren off the left side. He's going to pick up about 5 or 6 yards. Did I see a penalty marker thrown on the play? Thought I did from the far sideline. And it's a sideline warning against the Musselman Appleman apparently. So the play will, no, wait a minute. They're going to go ahead and mark it off. So they're adding 5 more yards to the end of that run.
Well, it must have been the second warning, I presume.
I don't remember seeing it, but that did certainly seem to be the indication from the officials. So the football gets marked down to the 27-yard line. So they add on the 5-yard penalty at the end of that play.
I think they called it illegal participation.
All right. So 9 penalties, 79 yards now against Musselman. Back to the ground game. Handoff. Kevon Warren up the middle, cuts to his left, and streaks into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Kevon Warren gets 2 carries, and just like that, he's into the end zone on a 27-yard touchdown run.
He's barely even touched on that play.
Wow.
And there goes the flag.
So a penalty marker down, and we'll see how this one will be marked off.
Unsportsmanlike against Musselman. And looks like that's the only call.
So they'll mark that one off on the ensuing kickoff.
Let's see, this is a situation again, you got to rein your players in. You can't have that. Both of these teams are going to play in the postseason.
Yes.
And the frustration there is just not good. Sometimes you just have to take your licking and keep on moving.
We'll check in with Jason Colrick in a moment, who said there was a sideline warning back in that opening quarter. Check in with him here after the extra point. Snap and placement. Sherman gets it down, and Catlett puts it through. 9 minutes and 34 seconds remain in this one. That clock stops right now. Thought it was supposed to continue no matter what. Let's check in with Jason. Sideline reports brought to you by Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible. Jason.
You are correct. The clock is supposed to be running right now, but there was actually a sideline warning assessed to Musselman on the first offensive play that Martinsburg ran, and I'm not really sure exactly, but it was a I know that they had done it, and I'm not really sure why you didn't catch it, but it was a good play by Martinsburg, I believe.
Well, 1 minute and 11 seconds, all that it has taken for the Bulldogs to traverse the 39 yards after taking over on downs, and Martinsburg quickly adds to the lead, now 70-0.
Now with the 15-yard penalty, Martinsburg will kick off from the 45 of Musselman.
So Catlett will lay the ball on its side and will simply ground this one down the field. Clock still setting at 9:34. Awaiting the kick as Catlett gets ready to approach. And there is that kick, and it's bouncing along the near side and will go out of bounds inside of the 10-yard line. They'll say it went out at about the 6. And the football will come out, I believe, to the 35 in this situation.
Yes.
Well, the officials still waiting to set it down.
They're placing the ball at the 20-yard line.
It wasn't a touchback.
It wasn't touched.
Simply went out of bounds. And they do set it at the 20. Maybe that's a new rule that I'm unaware of. They'll set the football down, it looks like, along the near side hash mark, and the clock continues to wind. So Musselman will have the football, it looks like, at their own 20-yard line on a 1st down and 10. They're going to take their time on that sideline, huddling up before heading out onto the field. Right now, no play clock running, so they're just letting that game clock wind it down. Martinsburg, undefeated seasons, going 10-0 in 76, 2002, and 2003. Did it again in 2010 and 11, and did it in 2016 and 17. Here in 2018, ready to make it a 3rd straight year of going 10-0 in the regular season. In 76, 2002, and 2003, the Bulldogs would eventually lose in the playoffs, but in 2010, 2011, 2016, and 2017, the Dogs would finish those seasons undefeated, 14-0, and claim state championships, as Martinsburg has been in that title game now 10 times, and after dropping their first 4 state championship games, Martinsburg has won 6 of the last 8 and 2 in a row as they get ready to head back into the postseason.
While you were talking, Matt, Musselman got a 5-yard delay of game penalty.
So
while they were talking on the sideline.
They move it back to the 15-yard line, and on 1st down, there is the handoff, and the ball carrier getting back to the line of scrimmage, and not much more. And on that carry was Jacob Miller. Miller is a freshman, so the Applemen putting in some new players, just giving them an opportunity in this one. There was a gain of a yard on that play out to the 16-yard line.
Martinsburg with a whole bunch of new players out there.
Looks like a new quarterback. That is number 10, Jonathan Shade. He's a sophomore, 6 foot 145. Shade with that pistol formation. Again, has Miller behind him. There is the snap. Fakes the handoff, and then there's the quick pass to the far side, and that grab is made. And with that one is Nick Zamora, a sophomore, who will pull that one in. He'll get out to the 20-yard line and mark him closer to the 21 for a 5-yard pickup. Looked to be a forward pass from our angle.
Yeah, it looked like a forward pass and also looked like offensive pass interference because the wide receiver was blocking the guy who was trying to make a tackle before the ball was thrown.
3rd down and 9 coming as the clock winds at 6:43 and counting. Martinsburg off next week. Their bye week going into the playoffs. Musselman back in action next week as they will host Preston. There is the snap back. They fake the handoff one way and give going the other, and, well, it goes nowhere. Nick Zamora grabbed in the backfield and slung down for a loss on the play. They will give him progress to about the 14. So that was a 7-5 on that tackle. Zion Watson.
Yeah.
6 foot 215. He's a sophomore. Loss back to the 14 is about a 7-yard loss. And you got to punt it out of here. I think they do bring Beard back in, and they do, and he'll get that punt away. Low line drive, end-over-end kick, and bounce at about the 35, take a Musselman roll out to the 45, and will be grabbed on the run by Reese Clark, a 6'1 junior. Martinsburg will have it at the Musselman 35. So
the clock is stopped again.
Punt of 21 yards with no return. They're stopping the clock on the change of possession. I've always been told the clock runs, even on a change of possession.
Yes.
We've wasted minutes. They could have already run off of this clock, and now they get it moving again.
Yeah, this is not helping either team in these types of situations. You know, I think they need to get this situation squared away at the SSAC, and I think it should begin in the second half. I'm sorry.
Let me correct myself. That last punt was 31 yards as it is touched dead out at the 45-yard line, and now we have a penalty marker down. Delay on Martinsburg. Now, if you're the Bulldogs, you're going, hold on a minute. Musselman stood on the sideline for how long before you finally threw the penalty marker? Hey, whatever, right? This one is all but over. So move it back to the midfield stripe for the Bulldogs. Looking back, I've got that now as 6 penalties for about 57 yards on the Bulldogs. And knowing Coach Walker, he's going to do everything possible to just let this clock continue to wind. Martinsburg may very well just take another couple of these penalties and let them keep backing the football up 5 yards. There it is, another delay of game penalty as they move it back to the 45-yard line.
Well, there's not a whole lot you can do other than punt on first down, and that's probably more demoralizing than anything else.
The Bulldogs again staying in their huddle. A bunch of the youngsters out there, they're now kind of dancing around with the music that is playing. As again, the play clock winds down. So Martinsburg can do this for another couple of times. That would be 50 more seconds. So basically just a little less than, well, and figure the clock keeps winding, so roughly a minute each time.
And
so
if the referee would just slow down a little bit. As soon as that 5th yard is marked off and it sets the ball down, boom, he hits the whistle. He should understand the intent here.
Yes. Coming up in our post game, we'll send it down to Jason. Hear from Martinsburg head coach David Walker. We'll also have a little analysis from Vic, run a couple of numbers, and look ahead to what is next for both of these teams. Then we send it back to the studio where Matt Crawford is standing by with our Extra Point post-game scoreboard show. He'll have highlights from tonight as well as scores from around the Mountain State last night and even some college football today. That's all on the post-game show brought to you by WVUH East Berkeley and Jefferson Medical Centers, the best in healthcare close to home. There we go with another delay. 9 penalties, 72 yards now called on Martinsburg. And we're going to do it a couple of more times. That continual running clock in this 4th quarter with Martinsburg in front. 70-0. The Bulldogs will improve to 10-0 heading into the postseason. Musselman going to suffer their first loss on the year as they will fall to 8-1. They'll face a Preston team that has just 1 win on the season next week. Preston got their victory against Hampshire in the season opener. And since that time, it has been a real uphill climb for the Preston Knights. Another delay penalty, 10 penalties, 77 yards now for Martinsburg. We're going to get a couple of more. They'd have to get all the way to the 35 in Musselman territory to get a first down. Football's all the way back at their own 30. This game may end with one of the longest down and distance situations in Bulldog history. Let's check in with Jason down on the sideline. You dancing to that music too, Jason?
I was just a second ago. I mean, this game's all but decided. I just asked one of the coaches, are you just trying to add to your annual yearly totals of penalties?
Ooh, wow. Jason trying to start something on the sideline. Hey, the Dogs came into play tonight averaging 8 penalties, 68 yards a game. Their opponent, 8 penalties, 58 yards a game, so they've been pretty even there. A minute and a half left in this one as Martinsburg will, wait a minute, now we get an offside call on Musselman.
How did that happen?
I have no idea.
Especially when Martinsburg never came up over the ball.
11 penalties, 99 yards now whistled against Musselman. I guess they wanted to get in on the act too, right?
Yeah, I guess he got in the neutral zone.
So the ball is back to the 30-yard line in Martinsburg territory. We're under a minute left, 15 seconds on the play clock. So Martinsburg will have to take at least this one final delay penalty, which will give them 12 penalties for about 87 yards on the night. And let's see if they do a good job of slowly spotting this football. Come on.
Maybe the referee will just slow
take
down
your time.
a little bit.
Slow down.
You got 5 seconds before you get it started.
There it is.
Yeah.
Talk to the line. Along the far side. There we go. Now wait.
Now start it. There you go.
There it is. So we'll wait for the final 20 seconds to run off the clock as the two teams get into their lines at the midfield stripe, where they will all shake hands and greet coaching staffs as well as the teams, as Martinsburg puts the finishing touches on their third straight 10-0 regular season. The final seconds ticking off the clock. It is now official. Martinsburg gets the win over Musselman, 70-0. We'll come back and tell you all about it as we get into our post-game show. You're listening to West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio WRNR and watching on TV 10.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Come to Berkeley County, West Virginia and enjoy the events, the history, outdoor adventures, farm-to-table dining. Just 90 minutes from Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Berkeley County, West Virginia provides small-town sensibility close to the big city. Visit TravelWV.com to find out more about all that Berkeley County has to offer.
Accountable, ethical, responsible, and not afraid of a hard day's work. Elect Michael Folk for West Virginia State Senate.
We're back again here at Coburn Field, where tonight the Martinsburg Bulldogs have wrapped up another perfect regular season. We welcome you into the post-game show brought to you by WVUH East, Berkeley, and Jefferson Medical Centers, the best in healthcare close to home. Along with Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller. Jason Colrick down on the sideline. Back at the studio, our engineer and host is Matt Crawford, and running the TV10 camera, Chip Rittenhouse. Martinsburg in their huddle at the 25-yard line down to our left. We'll hear from head coach David Walker in a moment as he talks with Jason Colrick. Vic, a dominating effort tonight by this Bulldogs team all the way around as they opened up that lead at the half, 42-0, and never looked back as they scored on four of their 5 offensive possessions in the second half to roll to a 70-0 victory.
Well, offensively, they just really dominated. The big play was there, the not-so-big play that you normally get, the 3 or 4 yard gain, it was there. The intermediate pass was there. The deep pass was there. Again, it's just something that's very, very difficult, and for those of you who have played or whatever, to simulate speed, and that's what Martinsburg showed tonight. Again, their ability to be able to make plays, and offensively and defensively.
All right, the huddle is broken, and let's go down. Jason, standing by with Coach Walker.
I'm down here with Coach. Coach, you've got to be impressed with what your team was able to do tonight.
I mean, I thought defensively we played really well. And offensively, I mean, we made some big plays. I thought there were some times that, we didn't do a job at certain things, but our playmakers made plays. The win in that fashion, end up, conference champions and home field and all that stuff. To be 10-0 for 30 in a row feels really good, but we still have some work to do.
Coach, your team only gave up 3 total points to conference opponents. What does that say about that defense?
Well, it says they're pretty good, and it says we're just a whole lot better than the rest of than everybody else in our conference. We got some great players, and our kids work hard, and it pays off for them.
Third year in a row that you guys have finished the regular season 10-0. That's a pretty great accomplishment. 38 straight wins.
Yeah, I'm proud of our guys and pleased with the work that they put into it, and our guys have come together and play unselfish, and just the team comes first, and when you care about each other and you work hard, that's good things. Only good things can happen for you.
You talk about hard work. When does that hard work actually start for this program?
I mean, we get through the season, and then after Christmas, we get in our off-season stuff in January, and we put a lot of time into it, but they're high school kids, so it's not life or death. So, we want them to put time, because I figure the more you put into it, the more you care about it, and the harder it's going to be for you to surrender. So our guys invest a lot of time, and it pays off for them.
Week 5, I asked you a question. Give me a grade for the team at the midway through the season. Now it's the end of the regular season. What would that grade be?
A-.
So it has improved.
A little bit. I would be ridiculous if I said that we were, a C or a B. But right now, we're 10-0, and we've met challenges, and we've won some big games. And right now it's. Let me look at the film. I might give you another answer Monday.
Okay, so you guys have finished 10-0 regular season. You're going into a bye week. Obviously, you've locked in what you wanted was a 1 or 2 seed. It really doesn't matter. Either way, you get home field advantage. What does the next week look like for you guys?
Well, we're going to try to get better. We'll come in, like I was telling the team, we'll watch film on Monday, go evaluate what we did tonight. Then we'll have a full practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, work on things we need to improve, and then normally I'll probably give them Friday off, and then it'll be prep time for whoever we play, and get ready to for the postseason.
Will Coach Walker be someplace watching a football game?
Nah, I might be home watching something on TV, but probably not. Now with the way the playoff system works and there's film has changed, and this Friday, I don't know if there's any area games going on. I think maybe Hedgesville and Springfield. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who else playing.
Coach, when will you find out who your first round opponent is?
We probably can figure out the scenarios and narrow it down to 3 or 4 teams. But until we go to Parkersburg and get the word from them, you never know.
Well, Coach, congratulations on your 3rd straight undefeated regular season, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
There you go. Just a few thoughts from down here on the field, and another successful regular season for the Martinsburg Bulldogs.
There you go. Jason Colrick with head coach David Walker. Sideline reports the service of Mike Folk for State Senate District 16. Accountable, ethical, responsible. Vic, before we go back to the studio, I want to get back to just a couple of quick numbers. Jason hit on it, that winning streak now at 38 in a row since the beginning of the 2010 season. The Bulldogs have now won 111 of their last 118 games. This is now 19 in a row in this series, which makes it now 69 in a row overall against Eastern Panhandle teams. Martinsburg has won 77 of the last 79 against Eastern Panhandle teams, with only a couple of losses against Jefferson back in 2005 and 2007. Add in that in the mountain state of West Virginia, they have now won 78 of their last 80 against West Virginia opponents since 2010, with the only two losses at Capital in the playoffs in 2014 and 15, and it now marks 55 consecutive wins here at home against West Virginia opponents, 30 in the regular season and 25 in the playoffs. Oh, and by the way, with this win tonight, they're going to be guaranteed to host up to 3 playoff games if they can win each week during the postseason. That bodes well when you consider 25 straight home playoff wins against schools from the Mountain State.
Well, all that spells to me is a dynasty. I mean, that's exactly how you have to explain it. The fact that they're able to dominate people. And not all these games are played here at Coburn Field. These guys have gone on the road. They've done it on the road. They've done it at home. They've done it on a neutral site. So they have done it everywhere that you could possibly do it. But let's give a lot of credit to this coaching staff, because these guys have come out every week, and the guys have been prepared. They've come out. They've been mentally and physically tough every game. They played with consistency all year long. That's the big thing. It's like you take a look at West Virginia a week ago, the university, and they go to, Iowa State, and they look like some ragtag team, and then they come back next Thursday, and they look like world beaters. Yeah. And that's the inconsistency. You don't see that out of this team. This team has been consistent, and the whole year from game 1 all the way up to game 10, and that's what you want to see. The discipline. I saw one of the players get disciplined, get a talking to by the official, and from that point on, that player was the player he was before that discipline was given to him by the official out there on the field. And that's what you want to see, because they know when they come over on that sideline that Coach Walker or one of the other coaches is going to be in his throat about those types of situations. But that's part of it, the discipline, these guys, and they know each other. And let me tell you, as a coach, as a player, as an athlete, you have to care about each other, and that's what makes a big difference in wins and losses and when things get tough. Of course, they haven't gotten too tough for them this year. But
yeah,
it's just been really, really a joy to watch these guys come out and play with the consistency they have all year long.
Again, your final tonight, Martinsburg over Musselman, 70-0. We'll come back and run some of the numbers from this one after this 1-minute timeout. It's West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10. Well, let's take a look at some of the numbers from this one, and we'll start with the Martinsburg defense. In that first half, held Musselman to -1 yard on 21 plays. In the second half, Musselman got a little bit of offense going as they had back-to-back 8-play possessions, picked up a few first downs, 27 plays, 93 yards in the second half. So in all, Musselman gets 92 offensive yards on 48 plays, 83 rushing yards, and just 9 passing yards. Could never get anything established as they go 2 of 12 on third down conversions and 1 of 5 on fourth down conversions.
Well, it's one of the things we talked about in the pregame, the fact that they're going to have to do something on first and second down, so third down wouldn't be such a real problem for them. Third down was big here tonight because of the fact that third downs were long most all the time.
Taking a look at a few individual numbers, Martinsburg did their job holding down Blake Hartman. We had him with 53 yards on 12 carries, the bulk of that coming in the second half. Trey Beard, 5 of 9 passing for 4 yards, and Beard running the football about 29 yards on 11 carries. After running 33 plays in the first half for 307 yards. Are you ready? 11 plays in the second half, but an additional 227 yards. Part of those 11 plays in the second half, 59 yards, 52 yards, 42 yards, and 27 yards. So 4 out of 11 plays go for 27 yards or more. You tally it all up, and the Bulldogs had 44 plays for 534 yards, or an average of 12.1 yards per play.
That's just phenomenal, especially against this football team, which is a pretty good football team, and this is a team that could go a long way in the playoffs.
Martinsburg finished with 290 rushing yards, 244 passing yards. The Bulldogs 6 of 8 on third down conversions. We had them with 21 overall first downs. Naeem Kearney had 11 carries, 91 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 in the second half. 2 carries, 34 yards, and a touchdown for Kevon Warren. Let's look at the quarterbacks as Grant Harmon completed 5 of 7 for 131 yards, throwing for a couple of touchdowns. And it was, 7 completions in 10 attempts for Elijah Banks. He threw for 113 yards and threw for a couple of scores as well, as Martinsburg really got both the running game and the passing game going in this one as the Bulldogs go on for the 70-0 victory. All right, we'll haggle it out here for our player of the game, and when we come back, we'll tell you who that's going to be, and we'll look to what is next for both of these teams as we wrap up our portion of the postgame, brought to you by WVUH East Berkeley and Jefferson Medical Centers, the best in healthcare close to home. One more time, the final tonight, Martinsburg 70 and Musselman nothing.
I like Mike because he's not afraid to speak his mind, even if it means being politically incorrect.
I like Mike because he fights for people like me, the little guy that always gets forgotten about.
I like Mike because I value his opinions and his efforts in improving education in West Virginia for all students and school employees.
I like Mike because he votes right.
Because he's the type of leader we need in Charleston.
Accountable, ethical, responsible. Elect Michael Folk for West Virginia State Senate.
It's over. All right, we are back one final time here at Coburn Field for our post-game show. Then we'll send it back to the studio. Matt Crawford standing by. I am not sure. Hang on a second. I am not sure if we have figured out our player and or players of the game. Gentlemen, ideas? Jason, your suggestion was you wanted a roster and a dart, so you could
I did. I wanted
just
a
make
roster
the throw.
and a dart. There were so many players that did a phenomenal job. I got to tell you, and this isn't maybe necessarily for just this game, but I like Chris Catlett, the kicker. He was perfect tonight with extra points. He was perfect pretty much the entire season except for maybe one block. And the 2 games that he wasn't here, the Bulldogs struggled on extra points. So, maybe as an accumulative, I think worst case scenario for the whole season accumulative, he should get an honorable mention because, in a night like this, everybody did something remarkable.
Well, Rick and John Alderton are right behind you. They're vying for the players of the game for their film work that helps the coaches in preparing these kids week in and week out. Vic, what do you think?
They don't have any eligibility. Both of them are too old.
There you go. That's it.
They're older than I am, I think. That's pretty old.
That is old.
So, all right. I mean, I could see Catlin, what he did tonight. I mean, it is tough on a night when so many guys did so many things well. We've gone with that offensive line before, and or the defensive line, as they really controlled the line of scrimmage. You could give it to the linebacking group as a whole, as they really filled the holes. You had Grant Harmon offensively. You had a pick defensively and some big tackles. Teddy Marshall had some big catches offensively. He had another pick for the season as well. So
dart in the roster.
There you go.
Dart in the roster tonight.
So congratulations to the Martinsburg Bulldogs, our players of the game, as we give it to we'll let Chris Catley carry the trophy, if you will, but we'll let the rest of the team gather around him for the picture because, frankly, another 10-0 season. There were a lot of questions 10 weeks ago when this season started. There were a lot of quality players that were gone from last year's team that was so dominant. Could this year's team do the same? They had a new opponent in Academy Park. They had the circle around the date for Sharando coming to town. Hedgesville, much improved with what they were doing. This Musselman team coming in undefeated. Martinsburg 3 times this year has gone into matchups facing undefeated teams. Academy Park, Sharando, and tonight Musselman, and they've come out unscathed on all of those thanks to total team efforts.
No question about it. You know, the amazing part about it is Grantham, who hasn't played in about 4 weeks, you know, presumably maybe the best athlete they have on the football team, and's not even been playing. And that just shows you that the old saying of next man up, and that's what's happened to this football team. You know, I look at their offense and I say, you know, where do you stop them? You know, and defensively, they're just all over you because the guys you can't stop on offense are the same guys you can't stop on defense. So I think it's just such a well-rounded football team, and I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit. I'm going to be surprised if this team gets beat in the playoffs. I really am.
I'm right there with you. They certainly are poised to make another state championship run.
You know, and I got to tell you, when people get on Metro News and they see this score, people are going to go, what? Because, I mean, everybody around the state's, okay, this is the number 2, number 3 team. Let's see if Martinsburg's for real. And they're going to see they hung up 70 and didn't give up any on a very good Musselman team.
Yeah, let's not take anything away. No. This is a very good Musselman football team. Against Martinsburg tonight, though, they just couldn't show it.
Exactly.
Well, next up for Musselman, they're at home next week against Preston. They'll be heavily favored in that one. A chance to go 9-1 and probably still be in the top 4 or 5 when you look at Ripley and Capital and now Musselman with 1 loss. So, you know, there's a possibility they're still going to be right up there. They're going to host at least 1 and maybe be in the mix to host 2 playoff games if they can get a win in that opener. So good luck to Musselman next week and then heading into the postseason. We wish them all the best. I'm sure they'll bounce back next week. Meanwhile, for Martinsburg, a bye week, a chance to get a little rested, a little healed up from the wounds of a full straight 10 weeks of football, and then on into the playoffs where they will again be heavily favored and everybody has to come through Coburn Field where it's awful hard to beat the Bulldogs. Next week with Martinsburg on a bye, it'll be Matt Crawford handling the play-by-play, Mike Jacobs on the color commentary, as we'll be bringing you the Hedgesville Spring Mills game. That now has a new twist to it with Spring Mills getting the win yesterday, as Spring Mills now with a victory over Hedgesville would be 5-5, and with those bonus points could jump in to the 15-16 spot and make the playoffs. So it'll be a fun one next week out at Hedgesville, and we'll have coverage beginning with Miller time at 5, the pregame at 6:30, and then the kickoff at 7 o'clock. We'll be back with Martinsburg football once we know when they'll play. Friday night, or Saturday afternoon, and that'll be that second weekend in November. That's November the 9th and 10th, Friday night and Saturday. As soon as we get the information, we will let you know. All right, it wraps it up for our portion of the postgame show. Don't go away. Matt Crawford standing by with the Extra Point postgame scoreboard show after this. Thanks to our sponsors supporting our coverage of high school football. Thank you for joining us both on the radio and on the television. Thanks goes out to both athletic directors and head coaches providing information and interviews for our broadcast, and thanks to the staff and the folks here at Coburn Field for their help and hospitality getting us on the air. Our studio engineer, Matt Crawford, for Jason Colrick and Vic Holmes, I'm Matt Miller. Chip Rittenhouse, our TV10 cameraman. We say thanks for tuning in and get ready for more. Coming up next week, our final today, Martinsburg 70 and Musselman nothing. Until next time, so long, everyone.
Heating and Air, where quality meets comfort. WVUH East, the best in healthcare close to home. Bechtel Jewelers, exceptional service at affordable prices. Berkeley County Health Department, get your free radon test kit today. The Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc. Kelly Allstate Insurance Agency, are you in good hands? Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And Valley College, graduate with a career you love at Valley College.
The game may be over, but don't go away just yet. It's time for the Extra Point, where we add on scores and information from other games around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State. So let's get it started as we head back to the Talk Radio WRNR studios.
And welcome back into the Talk Radio WRNR studios. Matt Crawford here with you for your Extra Point post-game show. 70-0, your final from out at Coburn Field. The Martinsburg Bulldogs 10-0. They round out their third consecutive undefeated regular season. Musselman at 8-1 right now, looking to go 9-1 next week to finish out their regular season. They have pressed. We'll take a look at all those matchups that are taking place next week a little bit later here in the postgame show. We'll also take a look at what happened yesterday, as this game was the only one that was tonight. But first, let's do some highlights. Starting in the first quarter, it was Naeem Kearney on a 1-yard little option, little pitch, whatever you want to call it. Naeem Kearney from 1 yard out made the score 7-0.
Three receivers here to the wide side of the field left. There is the snap. There is the quick pitch. Kearney around the corner on the right side. He's in for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Harmon had the defense come to him, gave the pitch to the right, and Kearney had green turf in front of him to get into the end zone.
After a Grant Harmon interception on the ensuing Musselman drive, that would be Harmon's 6th interception, the team's 16th on the season. They would add more later in the game. But following that interception by Grant Harmon, it would be Elijah Banks finding Gerard Bowie. This 18-yard pass made it a 2-touchdown lead.
Here in this opening quarter, and the pass near side caught by Gerard Bowie. He was wide open along this near side as he got in behind Blake Hartman, and Elijah Banks out there at quarterback laid it out there nicely, connecting for the 18-yard score.
21-0 would be the score after Elijah Banks used his legs in the very next drive. 1-yard touchdown run, 21-0 at the end of the first.
Elijah Banks out there at quarterback for the Bulldogs, takes the shotgun snap off the right side of the line, pulls his way into the end zone. It's a Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
Going into the second quarter, Grant Harmon, a 1-yard touchdown run using his legs. It would be a 4-touchdown lead at 28-0 after this.
On first down and goal, the Bulldogs stay in the spread formation. Two receivers each way. Kearney to the right of the quarterback. Harmon awaiting that snap. He's got it. Fakes the handoff. Harmon keeps it off the right side. Skips it into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
That play set up by a 45-yard pass. The prior play from Grant Harmon to Gerard Bowie, so a very easy punch in after that from the 1-yard line. Teddy Marshall, a quick little fade, quick pass from Grant Harmon from 3 yards out would make it 35-0.
From the 3-yard line of Musselman, there is the snap. Harmon, fade pattern, back near corner of the end zone. Grab made by Teddy Marshall as he went right up over top of the defensive back and made that grab and came down inbounds. That's just a great athletic play by Teddy Marshall.
Cello Tenable from Elijah Banks to make it a 6-touchdown lead going into halftime. 42-0 after this quick little hitch from 7 yards out.
Banks has the shotgun snap, looks near side, now far side, wide receiver screen, catch made by Cello Teneval. Teneval to the sideline, spins off of a tackle, back to his right, and gets into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Looked like they had him bottled up, but he would not be denied.
Let's go to the third quarter, where it will be Gerard Bowie, 59-yard touchdown from Grant Harmon. He didn't have anybody within 20 or 30 yards when he caught this ball. But again, 59 yards in the touchdown, Gerard Bowie from Grant Harmon. This would make the score 49-0 in the third.
So the Bulldogs take over from their own 41. First possession of the second half, and Grant Harmon at quarterback. Has Naeem Kearney to his left side, two receivers each way. There's the snap. Harmon wants to throw. Deep along the near side has a wide open Gerard Bowie's got it at the 25, down the near sideline to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
Naeem Kearney finished with 3 touchdowns on the day. These would be his second and third. The first, a 14-yard catch and run to make the score 56-0.
Well, the Bulldogs able to get the football to Naeem Kearney off this left side, and he will turn upfield at the numbers and sprint into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown.
Second touchdown of the day. Let's go to his third touchdown of the day. This 42-yard crushing run right up the middle of the field where he just outran everybody. 63-0 after this run from Kearney.
Harmon awaiting the shotgun snap, hands it off. Naeem Kearney, right up the middle of the field, breaks the tackle at the 30, down the near side, hash mark. No one's going to catch him into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. I didn't get the lineman who pulled on that play, but he's the one. The pulling lineman opened that hole that allowed Kearney the short cut back to his left, and then he outran everybody.
Way to give the trench guys some line there, some love there, Matt, those offensive linemen opening up those holes. Let's close out the scoring. In the fourth quarter, just one scoring highlight. It was Kevon Warren, this 27-yard touchdown run to give the Bulldogs a 10-touchdown lead at 70-0.
So 9 penalties, 79 yards now against Musselman. Back to the ground game. Handoff, Kevon Warren up the middle, cuts to his left, and streaks into the end zone for the Martinsburg Bulldog touchdown. Kevon Warren gets 2 carries, and just like that, he's into the end zone on a 27-yard touchdown run.
70-0, your final score from Coburn Field, and that means in the last 2 games, Martinsburg has outscored their opponents 140-0. So pretty good offense, but also you're looking at some pretty good defense really all season, but especially in the last couple weeks for the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Got to give some love to the kicker, Chris Catlett, 10 for 10 on extra points. The guys had a pretty good leg all year long. All right, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll take a look at how the games finished up yesterday, not only Eastern Panhandle, but all across the Mountain State. You're listening and watching the Extra Point postgame show on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. WVU Medicine wants to remind you, if you are 35 and older, to schedule your 3D mammogram today. The Women's Imaging Centers at Berkeley Medical Center and Jefferson Medical Center both offer 3D mammography, which helps doctors detect breast cancer at its earliest stages when it's most treatable. During the month of October, WVU Medicine is offering mammogram clinics every Saturday at both of our Women's Imaging Centers for just $60. Schedule your 3D mammogram today.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now? There's literally great deals on certified pre-owned Hondas.
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
That's literally impossible, but there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event. And Honda is KBB.com's 2018 best value brand. Seriously.
Now's the time to get a great deal on a certified pre-owned Honda at your local Honda dealer.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for information.
Welcome back into the Extra Point post-game show. Matt Crawford here with you in the Talk Radio WRNR studios. Let's take a look at some of the scores from last night. And hey, if you want to call in, if you were at any of these games, if you were at the game tonight, feel free to give me a call. We'll get you on the air. Let's talk about some high school football. 304-263-6540. Again, 304-263-6540. If you want to talk some high school football, give me a call if you were at any of the other games last night or if you were at the game tonight. Again, feel free to call. It's 304-263-6540. All right, let's take a look at what else went on around the Eastern Panhandle. North Hagerstown was at Spring Mills. This was not an easy game for Spring Mills, and this is a code red game for Spring Mills. Really, the last 2 would be code red game for Spring Mills, meaning they would need to win if they wanted any chance of getting into the playoffs. They come out, phenomenal game. They improved to 4-5, 32-9. Winner over North Hagerstown. South Hagerstown was at Jefferson. The Hagerstown teams coming to the Panhandle last night. South Hagerstown was at Jefferson. They get the win 40-13 due South Hagerstown. Jefferson falls to 1-8, while South Hagerstown improves to 7-2. And it was Hampshire at Washington, and in Charlestown was not very nice to the Washington Patriots. 44-14, Hampshire over Washington. 0-9 now are the Washington Patriots. Hampshire picks up their second win of the season. Hedgesville, 6-3, they were on a bye. They will host the Spring Mills Cardinals next week in a game that could be very, very interesting. Spring Mills going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and Hedgesville, depending on the way the numbers crunch this week, again, the WVSSAC playoff rankings come out on Tuesday, usually right around 2 o'clock. They came out earlier this week, but still Tuesday nonetheless. It'll be interesting what the points look like and where Hedgesville stands. Because you look at that game next Friday, we'll have that game right here. Myself and Mike Jacobs will have the call for you on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10. But that game could have major playoff implications, not only for Spring Mills, but possibly for Hedgesville being able to host a home playoff game for the second year in a row. They are right at that number 10 spot going into this week. And while they are a couple points behind number 9 and number 8 being the team that will be able to host, 9 through 16 have to go on the road. Hedgesville could get there depending on how bonus points work and how the teams above them would do. So it could be a very, or I'm not saying would be, is going to be a very crucial game for whether Hedgesville will be able to host a playoff game and if Spring Mills will even make the playoffs. Make sure you tune into that next Friday. Our pregame at 6:30, kickoff at 7 p.m. right here on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10. All right, let's take a look at what else went on around the Mountain State yesterday. Rowan County, 6 points. Ripley, 41 points. Ripley, 41-6 winner over AA Rowan County. Capital and Riverside. Capital number 5 in AAA, 41-0 over Riverside. Huntington and Parkersburg. That's the 6-9 matchup. Huntington, number 6, getting the 27-21 win over number 9 Parkersburg. Parkersburg South shuts out Wheeling Park. That's a 6-8 matchup with Parkersburg South tied at 6th with Huntington. And that is a big shock for Wheeling Park. They have not been shut out by a West Virginia team since 2007, haven't been shut out since 2010. So the first time Wheeling Park's been shut out in a very, very long time. Again, final there was 30-0, Parkersburg South getting the win. AA Weir getting the 20-6 win over Brook. John Marshall blanked Warren Local, Ohio, 39-0. John Marshall, number 11 in the Mountain State AAA. The Mohawk Bowl, it was all Morgantown, and that game, very similar to the game we're going to have next week, had some severe playoff implications. University now 5-5. Morgantown now 5-5. University was number 13 going into this week, so maybe some flip-flop happening right there. Maybe Morgantown moving into that number 13 spot. Morgantown 55-10, the winner over University in that Mohawk Bowl. It was Woodrow Wilson 38, George Washington 35. George Washington was 14 going into this week, so that may bump them out of playoff contention. Greenbrier East 53, Princeton 14. Greenbrier East, that last team that would get in if the season had ended today. Again, at the number 16 spot. It was Buchanan Upshur and Preston. It was Buchanan Upshur 21, Preston 3. Not a very high-scoring game for a Buchanan Upshur team against a Preston team that is, quite frankly, having themselves a down year. South Charleston over St. Albans 66-6. And that rounds out our AAA games of interest, except for the biggest shock if you turned it at halftime, or the that's how we expected it to go if you look at the final score. It was a AA AAA matchup. Number 6, Point Pleasant in AA, taking on number 1 Spring Valley in AAA. Point Pleasant had a 27-14 lead at the half. Final score is Spring Valley 58-34. So Spring Valley had themselves a whale of a second half. I know I tuned in on the radio last night to hear the end of that, and Spring Valley just could not do anything wrong in that second half, and Point Pleasant just couldn't keep up. So that looked like it could have been pretty much a game sealer or a number 1 seed sealer for the Martinsburg Bulldogs, but will be interesting this week as Spring Valley won't get nearly as many points. They will get 9 instead of that 12 after just beating a AA team. But again, final score of that one, Spring Valley 58, Point Pleasant 34. All right, let's take a look at some college scores from today. With it being a Saturday, we usually don't get to do this, but now we can. Actually, we're going to start with Thursday. As I'm sure you've all heard, WVU won 58-14, a 31-point second quarter for the Mountaineers. Will Greer finished 17 for 27, 353 yards, and 3 touchdowns. In Shepherdstown today, it was Shepherd 58, West Virginia Wesleyan 35. A historic day for true freshman quarterback Tyson Bagent, the former Martinsburg Bulldog. 7 touchdowns. That is a Shepherd record for a single game. So congratulations to Tyson Bagent. He is having a phenomenal freshman campaign. 3 of those touchdowns went to tight end DJ Cornish, who had so far not had a bad year, but had a down year based on expectations. Let's hear from Tyson Bagent as I caught up with him after the Shepherd game today and hear what his thoughts were on getting that record.
I kind of got the gist when everybody started looking at me and clapping. You know, it's definitely a surreal moment that, you know, something that I dreamed of, you know, being able to come here, being able to, for my family, to be able to see things like that, you know, it just means a lot.
Again, 7 touchdowns for the true freshman. Let's hear from head coach Ernie McCook of the Shepherd Rams. They need to win out if they have any hope of making the playoffs. While those the chances of that happening, very, very slim, but they can control what they can control. They improved to 6-2 now with the win. Here is head coach Ernie McCook after the win against West Virginia Wesleyan.
Anytime you get a win at home, and it's awesome. You know, the crowd that was here was energized. They were into it. Our players answered the bell, had great focus early, and was able to do some really nice things. So I was really happy.
He should be happy. A phenomenal game for his defense, a phenomenal game for the offense. Special teams need some work, but you know what? That comes and goes week by week depending on who you're playing. And I'm the only one that cares about this, but you know what? I got the microphone. My Maryland Terps win 63-33 over Illinois today in College Park. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at what's going on over the weekend and what's going on next week across the Mountain State for high school football. This is the Extra Point Postgame Show. I am Matt Crawford, and this has been West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
It's the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Martinsburg. That means great savings like the all-new 2019 Ram truck as low as $32,900. How about a 2019 Jeep Cherokee at 0% APR plus $1,500 cash back? Get a 2018 Pacifica for only $24,987. How about a 2018 Jeep Compass for a low $229 a month, or a 2018 Dodge Charger as low as $299 per month? Get a 2018 Dodge Grand Caravan at only $299 per month. It's all at the 10 Days to Deal event at Miller's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Kelly Island Road, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Stock numbers 19049, 19001, and 19319. All payments based on approved credit, taxes, tags, and processing fees extra. See dealer for details.
Welcome back into the Extra Point Postgame Show. Matt Crawford here with you in the Talk Radio WRNR studios. Well, I can at least give you a look at what else is going on around the Eastern Panhandle next week. Can't seem to get the website to work to give you what else is going on around the Mountain State, but I can give you what's going on in the Panhandle. It'll be Spring Mills and Hedgesville. That's a home game for Hedgesville. Jefferson and Washington. That game at Jefferson this year was at Washington last year. Washington trying to get their first win of the season. Jefferson trying to get to win number 2. And it'll be Preston taking on Musselman. That's what's going on around the Eastern Panhandle. Again, sorry, I can't seem to get this website to work to give you what else is going on around the Mountain State. Again, Martinsburg on a bye. Their season ended tonight. Another perfect season at 10-0, at least a perfect regular season at 10-0. I know definitely not where they want to be at the end of the season quite yet. All right, tomorrow, NFL action. The Washington Redskins are in New York taking on the New York Football Giants. Our coverage starts here at 11 a.m. That is a 1 p.m. kickoff. And then we will have Sunday night football for you right here. That is the New Orleans Saints in Minnesota taking on Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. All right, that's going to do it for me tonight. We appreciate you tuning in all season long throughout the regular season. And tonight for, again, a 70-0 win as Martinsburg beats the Musselman Appleman. We'll take you to NBC Sports Radio next. This has been West Virginia High School Football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV 10.
And the Extra Point is up and good. That concludes today's broadcast of West Virginia High School Football. All rights reserved. For the best in high school, college, and NFL coverage all season long. Keep it tuned in to Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg.
he just had to go. I think, that's all it was. So afterward, I figured, if it would have been me, I would have gone to the restroom, and the drug guy would have been there. I would have shoved his head through the door and